Hello everyone. We're back. Okay. I'm filming a lot of videos today. This one okay. Sorry. My dad texted me and asked me about something. I gonna be completely open and honest. I used to play Yandere Simulator. I played it up until about July this year, I believe. But I never donated to Yandere Dev at all because I didn't want to. Also because it was pretty obvious that the donation should have been closed because he was making money on YouTube. He was making money on the fucking Patreon and the Kickstarter. So all of these bring in a good amount of money for him. But he won't actually use that money or something. I don't know. But we're going to watch this video today to learn more about it. It's called Yandere Dev, the Incel That Ruined His Game. This is by June the King, and it was uploaded 6 months ago. So, let's get into it. This is going to be on either 1.5 speed or 1.75.
Come down and give your lover a kiss.
Social inexperience, anger, malice, and a sudden rise to popularity. This is the recipe for Alex Mahan, known as Yandere Dev. The moniker derived from his creation, Yandere Simulator, a game that, similar to Alexander, is incomplete. Per lengthy forum post to his current day postings, he has never been able to find a lasting partner. What has fallen him instead has been history that haunts him. Posts about wanting to attack his parents, many damning accusations, varying opinions on promiscuous women, and a fascination with the video game character Samus Aran. Now all remembered because of his recent, illicit conversations with a 16-year-old.
Yeah, you're very skinny and that's kind of hot.
Him being 35, more than twice her age, did not win favor with the community he was attempting to repair.
Oh yeah, also, if you followed my old channel, it was called The Black and White Podcast. I used to have a podcast with one of my friends. We kind of covered this a little bit. It was kind of awkward when we did though, because we had to read out everything that he said, and unfortunately I was the one who had to read his lines. So it was just really weird. It was creepy, just gross. Anyway, but we kind of covered it a little bit. We covered that specific thing, the grooming allegations. We didn't cover any of his past stuff, which is why I want to look into this, because I actually don't know much about his past.
Relations with. This, as it were, is a tip of the iceberg. Many tackle only pieces of Yandere Dev, but this video will cover his expansive history to present day. In 1997, developing alongside Alexander, who was 9 at the time, was a new term, involuntary celibate, first found in a support website ran by women in her mid-20s, simply known as Alana. Alana's involuntary celibate project, as it was called, was intended as a support group for those who felt marginalized by society. As the website grew, the term involuntary celibate was shortened to Incel, then as per a suggestion, was shortened for the easier spoken and now popular Incel. The website itself saw some success, and not just as a support group, but also as a website where a few members found each other and developed relationships. Its significance now is boiled down to its coined term, and precursor to something vile. 3 years later, now the year 2000, Alana abandoned the project, and the term, alongside Alexander, swayed from their intended courses. What was once a simple slang as a combination of two words, involuntary celibate, has been overtaken by a culture and a derisive definition. As per the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, an incel is, quote, a person, usually a man, who regards himself or herself as being involuntary celibate and typically expresses extreme resentment and hostility towards those who are sexually active, unquote.
By the way, if you are under this category, being an incel is just fucking annoying, and making it so, making it your entire personality that people aren't having sex with you, that is really fucking annoying. And it's just really sad, because it's not that hard. It really isn't. There are fucking dating apps for this, and one of the things I always say is, women, good fucking women, this for if you're a dude, good women do not care what you look like. They just want you to be nice.
Alexander would grow into this definition, beginning as he believes at the age of 12, when he was enrolled in an independent study program akin to homeschooling. While Alex isn't very vocal about it, nor the reason he was being homeschooled after elementary school, users state that it was because of bullying, though it is difficult to confirm because a source is never provided. Homeschooling, when it comes to development, needs foremost social nourishment. Only so much can be absorbed through one's parents or siblings. Typically, peers will fill this role as children learn from a diverse range of personalities. From here, they can learn how to communicate with one another, how not to communicate. While not everyone is proficient in communication and social understanding, even with attending public schools, those that are homeschooled can be at a greater risk of being socially malnourished. These can be offset by enrolling oneself in activities and clubs where one can socially develop among peers. But what happens when there are no attempts to provide social nourishment? No social gatherings, no going out, no friends. The only way of learning how humans interact is through media. With social media not very present in the year 2000, Alex had less options. Quote, I've watched countless box sets of anime and played through a countless number of video games. Coupled with my only world experiences being in elementary school, this did not paint a very good picture of what the world is like for me. Unquote. The excessive expressiveness in media and the unrealistic nature of scenarios that play out in works of fiction did not seem as such for Alex. He had a skewed picture of the outside world. He was a foreigner everywhere but his home. Perhaps that was felt as he began relating his struggles with foreign works. Animes, with a larger emphasis on those socially disconnected, resonate stronger. The Evangelion series comes to mind as its protagonist Shinji struggles with his past traumas, lack of connection, and crushing responsibilities. This anime is hailed as a masterpiece for its depiction of human emotions set in a cruel world where it would be hard to be anything but depressed. These topics allow a pinhole view into understanding human relationships a bit more accurately than media that curtails harsher topics for the sake of escapism. As Alexander grew, he longed for the connections others had, as the themes of friendships and relationships were ever present in media, yet in his personal life never felt any closer. This changed somewhat with the advent of the internet. Though it was present for several years at this point, its evolution allowed for larger, more complex forums. Similar to Lana's involuntary celibate project, these attracted users that found it difficult to find those with shared interest in person. Whether it was video games, comic fan sites, anime sites, it was certain to exist on the internet, like animemusicvideos.org. Alex, now 16 years old, found this forum and has one of the earliest posts from his, at the time, online alias, Ava Zephon, created on May 8, 2004. The Ava is taken from Evangelion, and the Zephon is taken from the anime Razzephon, which is similar to Evangelion. Originally, he joined because he wanted to make an anime music video. As per this post, where he was struggling to understand the guide in what is primitive editing and trying to overlay music on video, as was popular in virtually all subcultures in the 2000s. In fairness, the guide is not as clear as it should be with its technical lingo, especially at an introductory level. The first response was by a user named Absolute Destiny, referring Alex to a section of the guide. Alex then responds with a section, showing its lack of clarity. Now, Absolute Destiny, understanding Alex's problem, gives a detailed breakdown of what to do, and Alex is elated. 2 more topics were made over 2 days. Alex required guidance. The commenters were as helpful, and Alex appeared to be grateful, but there was some friction in his communication when trying to get users to understand his problem. And as others would find out, this was an issue for him. Proposing a new rule now. I don't mean to formally challenge the administrators with this topic, but I'd like to share some of my thoughts. I'm not mad at the guides. However, I'm mad that everyone thinks that they can solve a problem by telling someone to go read a guide. I didn't come to this forum or that forum to have someone tell me to read a guide. I came to a forum to get my question answered by someone. I think that maybe there should be some sort of rule along these lines. If you know the answer to someone's query, then if you're going to reply to their post, tell them the answer to their question. Do not direct them to a guide. Either that, or there should be a forum dedicated to help making an A and B. Why isn't there one already? I'm sorry if I was too fired up or offended any guide authors in this post. I just don't want to keep on making new posts on topics every time I run into yet another problem because no one helped me adequately because they all told me to read a guide. Unquote. This combativeness from Alex from a forum attempting to assist him got mixed reactions. Some were understanding of his frustration. Others diagnosed him as the problem, specifically in his lack of clarity in defining what he needs assistance with. This was the first instance on this forum of Alex's policing or wanting control where none belongs to him. Yet there was not much hostility from either side, at least not on this forum. Instead, here, he was very expressive about his desires. On a topic created to share sexy/hot screen caps of anime characters, Alex responded to one of the posters with, quote, it's hot and sexy and I've ejaculated many times to it. Got any more like it? Unquote. The infancy of the internet and the concept of permanence was not felt, which is why posts like this one exist. But this reminds me of a guy who had a 2-foot-tall statue of Rei Ayanami. He said he bought it for $250, which sounds a lot better than what they seem to be charging for the doll up above. Man, I love seeing those life-size anime dolls. This post was dated May 29, 2004. Rei Ayanami is a female character from Evangelion that Alex showed increasing interest in. In December of that year, he stated, quote, I dig weak and submissive girls. Give me Rei. She wouldn't say no. Hell, she does whatever she's ordered to. Use your imagination. Unquote. Rei Ayanami from Evangelion is canonically 14 years old.
And this is why you don't have sex. Bro, what the fuck is that? Dude, no.
Alex, at the time posting this, was 16. He was expressing his desires, developing interest in others the only way he feasibly could. While most develop crushes and interact with humans, Alex had only a digital escape. Quote, 16 here, and my raging out-of-control hormones demand an entire forum for the posting of various forms of sexy screen caps. Unquote. This faux and shallow imagery, exciting but fleeting, was meaningless. As Alex searched and peeled away layers of the internet for art that pleased him, he knew there were limits to this experience. Not soon after came a depression and anger that joined in that realization. Quote, I am suicidal, and if it weren't for anime, I would have killed myself by now. Unquote. Alexander did not have many outlets, but he did have access to the ever-expanding internet where early forms of social media were popping up. The most well-known was MySpace. While this website did seem to pioneer popular elements such as the customization of a user's homepage, there were websites created even before MySpace capturing a different market entirely. One such was Guy Online, where MySpace grew because of its simplicity and ease of access. Guy Online flourished within anime and gaming communities as it evolved to be more interactive via events. That and rudimentary locations players could socialize using their avatars. This also created distance and anonymity. In Gaia, you could be anyone, making it easier to talk about anything. And Alex, recently joining the website in 2005, had a building frustration and insecurity he could not shake. On the forum section of the website, he posted, quote, I hope that it would not make me sound too desperate to say this, but I've been worried if I am the type of guy whom a girl would ever consider dating. I'm going to describe myself as honestly as possible, and then I'd like to know if I sound like it would ever be possible for me to find a girlfriend, unquote. Alex continues by stating what he states are his positive qualities. He, quote, always tries to speak or act without offending anyone, unquote. He is sweet, a romantic guy, a gentleman who is open-minded, tolerant, not very judgmental at all. As for his flaws, clear by the creation of his post, he is not very confident. Alex may know this by his love of Japan that he exhibits the early signs of a hikikomori, a neat, a shut-in. Different words that share the quality of those that withdraw from society. In Japan, this is an increasing issue. As more and more young adults withdraw from society, as they drop out of school, they don't see work. They stay at home all day, repeating the same day, only existing to consume. No matter how much it is desired, a fear and anxiety of entering the outside world becomes crushing. In Japan, this issue was caused by various reasons, some being related to mental illness, where families of those mentally ill, in place of being homeless, will hide them from the world. After all, Japan has a phenomenally low homeless population. There's also the crunch culture and the pressure placed on succeeding to find a salary job, where the importance does not entirely lie in the money. Though inflation does play a part in working longer hours, these salary jobs are oftentimes secondary families. Workers spend so much time it becomes the prime area of socialization. Other aspects of Japan, like its distant culture, its desire for conformity, makes this issue worse. While the US doesn't have as much of a problem with NEETs or those who are not employed in education or training, it does have less support for those that might find themselves in these positions. These are the social influences. The psychological are much more complex. Alex can be seen as a standard case, except it is unknown if he is the one that desired his homeschooling or if it was the decision of his parents. Regardless, as he consumes anime and other media, it weighs on him more the experiences he never had. In this post, there is a fictional Vincent who is role-playing kissing a woman. Alex reacts by replying, quote, after reading that post, I felt really crappy. Sad about how I've never had any sort of experience with a girl. Man, I feel so jealous. I feel like a loser saying this, but I cried. Man, I seriously cried. I'm asking for your help. I feel like utter crap about this, and I don't know what to do. I consider killing myself. Any advice? How do I get over this? Unquote. He already feels rejected and displays insecurity because of those missed experiences. He feels himself a lesser human being because he has not had a girlfriend, and to be accepted within society means to be vetted by having a girlfriend according to him. This delves into the infamous side of incel rhetoric. In 2000.
Okay, I may not be understanding, but from what I'm getting from this is Alex's parents decided to start homeschooling him. And then, you know, that fucked up with his, like, because, you know, you need social interactions to actually, you know, be able to communicate. But then it fucked up with, like, it fucked his mental health up because he didn't know if people would like him or anything because, like, obviously he wasn't very social. So he started socializing on forums. Why, like, I get being afraid to, like, try it, but, like, the thing you should do for that kind of situation is go outside and talk to people. Like, go meet people. Like, did his parents just not let him go outside? Because that sounds like abuse.
2005, it was hard to say which way he would go. He was only 17 and this insecurity and resentment was only just starting. On Gaia, he continued to seek acceptance and get opinions on his looks. This is why he posted this image of himself. Alex's saving grace was that he was not a NEET. He may have been socially withdrawn, but he was still being homeschooled. He did sometimes also go out with his female cousin that he often talks about and sometimes with his parents. In this post, he talks about going to a local anime convention with both his father and his cousin. But what comes after? After he was done with high school, online college was not a viable option in 2005. He has, as per his extreme exposure of it, held interest in digital entertainment. From anime to games, he has showed interest in creating something similar. He has talked about his budding Photoshop abilities, created questionable fanfiction, and apparently even made an anime-based dating simulator. Alex had his interest. There are things he wanted to do. The issue now is leaving the safety and security of his room and attending college in person, something he really did not want to do. Quote, my dad is obsessed with my getting into college. He is obsessed with the thought of college, harassing me about it all day long, and even personally insulting me whenever I disagree with him. I hate him so much. I don't love my father anymore. He is an redacted. He is so mean to me. I wish I could disappear from my life. I want to make him disappear from my life. I want to kill him. I want to kill him with my bare hands. I always fantasize about using a knife while he's sleeping. I sneak into his room and plunge a knife right into his throat, stab him over and over and over while screaming at him what a horrible father, what a horrible person he is. And right as he realizes it's me, he'll die. Didn't know how to kill my mom. She's a total redacted anyway. I'd like if she died too. Unquote. These emotions.
What the fuck? See, when you see this and you know what Yandere Simulator is about, then, like, you know, that just makes it sound even more fucked up. Like, what the fuck?
And fantasies are not typical, but they can be for those socially withdrawn. In Japan, NEETs, as their parents retire, are not able to support them. So after decades of staying indoors, the NEETs have to enter the workforce to survive. The turmoil is so great that these emotions materialize in different ways. Alex is exhibiting anger, which seems to be common. Some people that are more than twice as old as Alex that have spent their entire lives indoors opt to kill their parents than themselves. While not common, these are true horror stories that drive fear in the hearts of the Japanese and create more pressure in trying to integrate their children into society. Fortunately, besides a different pose thinking he may become a serial killer, these feelings, now mid-2006, subsided, but not his growing displeasure of what he deems the loss of the public school experience. Quote, in a mere 4 months, I will be 18 years old, and high school will be over in less than that. I'm really sad because I will no longer be in the same place as my favorite anime characters. I will no longer be able to experience any of the things they are experiencing, and will no longer be the same age as them. All of the high school anime I watched from that point on on will leave me nostalgic for high school and wishing that I'd been able to experience it as the characters had. I don't have any friends, I've never had a girlfriend or gone to a party or done any of the fun things most kids my age have done dozens of times. I pretty much wasted my entire childhood. Watching high school anime makes me really jealous of the characters who had got to have such fun childhoods and high school experiences. Unquote. To that, Alex states his optimal partner would be just as socially awkward as him. Quote, in this fantasy, there is a girl who always stays home, has spent most of her life reading and listening to music, and is horrified when she finally goes to high school. Then her and I meet one another. Unquote. He repeatedly, across several forum posts for the Losers webcomic, described what his optimal partner would be. Someone who has no sexual experience, someone who is innocent and socially inexperienced as well. He goes as far to say that he harbors hatred for promiscuous women. Finding out that women have those strong desires has caused conflict, as he never knew they could be like that. After much reprimanding from other forum members, he grew to tolerate them. And then, just a month after stating his dislike of them, he, on May 8th, 2006, as has become patterned, asked if someone in his situation has a chance to have sex. Quote, do you think that if this guy met a slutty girl, he would have a good shot at convincing her to have sex with him? It wouldn't be quote-unquote pity sex. It wouldn't be sex just because he felt sorry for him. It'd be sex to help him and cheer him up and make his dreams come true. Unquote.
That is
Alex
pity
describes
sex.
himself as innocent, hating all that he perceives vulgar, like mean people or people that use swear words. Yet one of his accounts was seen asking questions on how to progress in the 2006 video game Replay. The player assaults a 42-year-old mother and her 17 and 12-year-old daughter. There is dissonance in what Alex deems to be a model person. He even stated in a different post that he is, quote, sexually frustrated. Yes. Higher in terms of moral certitude. Yes. Unquote. Alex appears to be shifting the blame for his lack of sexual activity to not his lack of socialization or his inability. Instead, it's just him being selective. And while he tolerates promiscuous women, he will never, quote, pursue a romantic relationship with them. Unquote. In another post, he goes as far to state, quote, I'm saying that I could not easily be attracted to a girl whose virginity was taken by another man. Unquote. At this point, Alex had begun taking classes at Santa Monica College to learn animation. His exposure to the public was not helping him integrate, it was having the adverse effect. Quote, I saw so many couples today. They were putting their arms around one another and holding each other's hands, and even kissing. I almost cried. That sort of thing should be illegal. Unquote. His continued negativity and hatred bled into his forum posts. Not only was he not integrating well in his college, online, his vitriolic posts were getting criticized. In December 2006, he went on several tirades about how much he despises mean people. And when he got criticized, instead of digesting the criticism, he states, quote, other people were mean to me, which made me want to defend my point strongly. As people became more and more mean, I became more extreme in my defense of my beliefs. I don't have a distorted view of women and sex. I got over my confusion a long time ago, but I defended extreme beliefs about women and sex just because everyone was being so mean. Unquote. There was something that rang true in the statement in that Alex, when criticism is brought forth, he reciprocates negativity rather than attempting to understand. This part of him will not change. In a different post, still in December, he states it would be optimal to exterminate all mean people. That same day, he stated that shootings can be justified if only bullies are harmed. This combative attitude
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. He said what? Hold up.
him being selective, and while he tolerates promiscuous women, he will never, quote, pursue a romantic relationship with them, unquote. In another post, he goes as far to state, quote, I'm saying that I could not easily be attracted to a girl whose virginity was not helping him integrate, it was having the pride. That sort of thing should be. Vitriolic posts were getting criticized. In December 2006, he went on several tirades about how much he despises mean people. And when he got criticized, instead of digesting the criticism, he states, quote, other people were mean to me, which made me want to defend my point strongly. As people became more and more mean, I became more extreme in my defense of my beliefs. I don't have a distorted view of women and sex. I got over my confusion a long time ago, but I defended extreme beliefs about women and sex just because everyone was being so mean, unquote. There was something that rang true in the statement in that Alex, when criticism is brought forth, he reciprocates negativity rather than attempting to understand. This part of him will not change. In a different post, still in December, he states it would be optimal.
Wait. That depends. Were the victims random, innocent people, or were the victims only bullies who delighted in the pain of others, who made a hobby out of inflicting physical and psychological pain on other people, who laugh and joke at other people's misfortunes and losses? Obviously, the bullies I've described don't deserve to live, make the world a horrible place, and should be exterminated. There's not a problem at all with killing them, just leave the innocents out of it. So someone said this, and also tell me, were the school shootings justified? Seriously, be honest and don't sugarcoat shit because you're afraid of the mean forum members.
To exterminate all mean people. That same day, he stated that shootings can be justified if only bullies are harmed. This combative attitude and hatred were making Alex more marginalized in an already marginalized space. These constant disagreements allowed him to understand how little his views were fitting in. As
Oh
for
my
2007,
god.
besides expanding on his already expansive website comparing Evangelion to Razepon, that is a 17-page breakdown, Alex again became a bit more at peace with his emotions. So far, every time it appears he's about to go over the edge and do something drastic, he takes a step back and reevaluates and calms down, wanting to learn and improve. On Gaia, in October of 2007, he stated, quote, over the past 2 years, I have developed a lot, and I've learned how to be around people. I can talk with people and interact with them much easier now. But still, nobody really looks at me unless I speak up or ask me questions or talks to me unless I initiated the conversation. They're all concerned with each other, and it seems like nobody really cares about me. The other thing that's getting me down is that no girls are ever interested in me. Occasionally, I'll try to say something flattering and complimentary, and the girl's expression and body language will change, and I can tell that it creeped them out a little. Today, I spent a few minutes with one of my friends and a female friend of his. She told us a funny story where this really creepy guy was hitting on her, and it bothered her a lot. I saw parallels to my own situation, unquote. He ends a post, once again asking for advice. While the replies try to cheer Alex up, it does not help as Alex responds with, quote, I am extremely anxious about not having a girlfriend. It is my greatest insecurity, unquote. At the end of 2007, Alex vented more on a different forum, one that he made an account for earlier in that year. On the suicide forum, he posted, quote, I'm insecure, anxious, lonely, and I lack confidence. I have nothing to live for, unquote. This post can be summed up with these two sentences. Quote, nobody wants to be friends with me. No girl wants to call me hers. My life is and always has been a giant disappointment, unquote. On Gaia, he announced his New Year resolution. Quote, my New Year resolution is to finally get a girlfriend. But when I say New Year's, I don't mean for 2008. That has been my resolution for the past 5 years. Since I was 14, I've wanted a girlfriend. I'm 19 now, and I've never had a girlfriend. I've never gone on a date with a girl or kissed a girl. No girl has ever been interested in me or given me a chance. I would keep the same resolution for the next year, but if I haven't had a girlfriend by now, what's the point? I don't think any girl will ever desire me. I think I'll be alone for the rest of my life. Unquote. There are more than 3 pages of topics Alex made, reiterating his desperation. I eat alone, sleep alone, study alone. Or, all girls who refuse to date me contribute to my problems. Where can I find slutty girls who like to fool around? The last topic specifically sparked a new page. Not only was he accepting of promiscuous women, he was now seeking them, going as far as to message random women in MySpace. The first 3 comments responding to Alex's announcement of the strategy read, quote, you need help, frowny face. Personally, I think that's sort of tacky. I doubt you'll touch a real boob ever, unquote. 2 days later, he came back sharing his results. Quote, 7 girls read the message and did not respond. 4 girls have not yet read the message. 2 girls responded and said they were cool with hooking up with guys. I told them I live within 5 miles and was interested in meeting them. I'm waiting for a response, unquote. Nothing came of this. Alex also tried a Craigslist posting. After 4 days of no responses, he came back asking for advice yet again. Quote, is there something unappealing about my post? How come nobody at all responded? Unquote. Because of these unsuccessful ventures, Alex sought out advice ravenously on Gaia. After about 50 posts or so, he posted 3 images of himself. While the images are gone on the original page, they still exist in an archive. That remains true for this video titled, All of Zero Suit Samus's Sexy Moves in 4 times Slow Motion. That was a compilation of the protagonists from the Metroid game series, stripped from her armor, performing attacks in the newly released fighting game Super Smash Bros. Brawl, uploaded on none other than the Ava Zephon YouTube channel. Though it was host to many random games and anime videos and clips, that video is one of the few that now remain private on the channel. As for his new attempts to find a partner, the lowering of his standards, subjecting himself to strategies that he would previously deem vulgar, must have taken its toll, as his desperation was reaching new heights without sufficient results. Alex felt doomed to remain single, as if it was a method of torture administered intentionally, only brought to a change in mood, where, by his own words, was in heaven. Quote, I've been hanging out with a girl lately, and because I had never even had my first kiss with a girl, she responded by telling me she thought I was really cute, and asked me if I'd like to have my first kiss with her. I said yes, and we kissed. She made out with me really passionately, and let me touch her chest. Alex then details that they were interrupted by a friend who had shown up as they had previously planned to see a show. The conflict here is what she told Alex. Quote, I want to make something clear. Even though I really like you, I don't want to be anyone's girlfriend. I've always tried to avoid that title. Unquote. Though Alex was ecstatic to have his perception of himself changed from an attractive to cute from a girl he states is, quote, the most attractive girl I've seen at college, he had only a brush with quote-unquote heaven, and did not want to pursue her strongly to avoid coming off as creepy, especially after being given her stance on the matter. A month went by and Alex gave no updates. He was, however, showing interest in other girls.
I feel really bad for that girl.
It is an edit later made to hide the original post. Looking at the first reply, quote, I see you're a redacted, how's that working out for you, unquote. Then a third and fourth set a tone of readers being in opposition of Alex, calling him creepy and stalker-like. The first post may have been wiped, but Alex's replies still remain. On page 2 of this topic, Alex posts a picture of a girl with text that reads, quote, sigh, some girls are so hot. I really hope that one day a girl like that actually speaks to me. I trade anything in the world for the chance to kiss a girl like that. Sigh, why do pretty girls always avoid me, unquote. As strong as the masses voiced their opposition of Alex obsessing over this person, he persisted regardless. Reconstructing this post using the replies tells of Alex finding a girl, possibly on a social media website, seeing that some of her interests align with his, messaged her stating something along the lines of, they will be perfect together. Additionally, on page 13, a commenter states, quote, the fact that she is in high school and you aren't, some people aren't interested in making friends like that, unquote. This wasn't the only post that Alex both wiped the original title and conflicted with the replies,
Ew.
some thinking his rants were so absurd that he must have been a troll. This time, as per Alex's replies, he states, quote, involuntary celibacy has many negative consequences, and one of them, ridicule from other people, can be observed quite clearly here, unquote. From this and others' replies focusing on involuntary celibacy, we can deduce that the topic was on Alex deeming himself an incel. The lukewarm to negative responses allude to Alex complaining about his position. His self-deprecating nature returned with a fury, and in a different post on the suicide forums, he gave the reason why. Quote, 2 months ago, I met the most interesting, intelligent, beautiful, sexy, and overall enchanting woman I will ever meet. During the time that she was expressing desire for me, all of my self-loathing and lack of confidence was buried and visible. While I was with her, I was happy and confident and proud of myself, and now that she is gone, all of my insecurities has returned. We stayed in touch after she told me that there would not be anything between us. A while ago, I hinted at the idea of a relationship between us. She simply said, that ship sailed a long time ago. Her feelings for me are now gone. I know that there is nothing I can do about her, nothing I can do to fix things or make her change her mind. But what am I going to do with myself? Unquote. In place of that would-be relationship, he showed interest in a different woman like he had never had before. On the Smashboard forums for the game series Super Smash Bros, he posted, quote, sub-Smashboards, longtime Smasher, first-time poster. I made this video a few months ago, and only now did it finally occur to me that Smashboards might be interested in it. It's a 10-minute long video of Zero Suit Samus's moves in 4 times slow motion. I hope you have as much fun watching this video as I did making it, unquote. That video was of Zero Suit Samus. The second attached was a new one. The trail does not end there, as Alex is seen thanking the person who created the Zero Suit Samus model for Gary's mod that Alex had now got working in Maya, an animation program that he likely began learning in college. Alex's habits as he entered 2009 stayed. His proclivity to all things anime and gaming in the online space didn't see any less involvement from him. Now, the internet had reached a point that video could be streamed live, not rendered or even requiring download for viewership. Those with generous connection could join creators in their streams and participate in the communities via attached chat rooms. Alex, in January of 2009, tried his hand at this, recalling Resident Evil 4 as the first game he streamed. His personal website, avazephon.com, had hosted more than just comparisons of 2 animes. It hosted a game project where the protagonist was a clear recolor of art of Zero Suit Samus, and now his live stream known as Ava Vidya. There exist many anecdotes describing Alex's streams as perverse and rage-fueled. Even Alex's recollection of this time fits others' descriptions of temper tantrums, excessive talk about his loneliness, and hyper-focus on viewers that out themselves as female. He, likely due to a lack of options, quickly got an audience of 100 or so people a night. These things aligned universally in statements describing Alex during this time, including a stream made directly in opposition of Alex. Except for one claim, one that could ruin any future endeavor if proved without a doubt. One big mess of anecdotes, screenshots, arguments, trying to prove who Sissif was, what Alex had her allegedly do, and a different underage girl that sent Alex and chat members nudes. To start, there is much evidence from those trying to prove this alleged Sissif's claims against Alex, yet there is enough missing information that gives Alex breathing room to counter these claims. Then there is much speculation from both sides that jumble what is already a mess. This is the summarized story from Sissif's side. Quote, the summary is that I met him on his video game channel when I was 14 and he was 21. He asked me to date him knowing my age, even viewing it as a plus. I was young and naive and starved for attention because of my broken home. So feeling flattered and valued, I said yes. We had many sexually explicit conversations and webcam sessions where he would do things in front of the camera while I responded on my...
So the shit that happened a few months ago wasn't the first time. Oh my god. Oh my god, what the fuck, dude? Oh, why are there so many fucking, like, YouTubers that turn out to be fucking pedophiles? Someone explain that to me real quick. Oh my god, I actually thought the shit from a few months ago was the first time that this shit happened.
My mic with sounds he wanted me to make, and he asked me for nudes in certain positions, etc. Eventually, I started to feel like he was just using me because he was only ever interested in sex, and his constant clinginess and controlling behavior made me feel claustrophobic. I eventually just broke up with him when he made a comment about not seeing us lasting much longer. He tried to beg me to come back first, and when I didn't, he banned me from his stream. A few of the regulars left my side, and we started a new channel where we could hang out away from him, unquote. As a counter, there is this leaked chat log he had with a woman from OkCupid where Alex talks about Sissifs and states, quote, Sissifs was a girl who flirted with me online. I flirted with her back. She seemed cool at first, but it turned out that she wasn't cool at all. She did a bunch of bad stuff, like she lied about her age, and she started a website to give people a place to say bad things about me, and her parents took away her internet privileges because she was taking nude pictures of herself and sending them out to random people. She sent me her new pictures, and she sent them to like 100 other people too, and somehow this means Ava Zephon requested redacted from minors, unquote. These, at their core, are two contradicting statements the parties hold. Then there's also these images the alleged Sissifs uploaded of her in 2009 to prove her existence. Most important is the I Heart Ava written on her fingers. That would be very damning if it was I Heart Ava Zephon and not just I Heart Ava, which can also be construed as Evangelion as it was and still is a popular anime. Then there were additional photos of the chat room. Her with a headset on also increased the possibility of her claims. There is much more evidence, but never anything that is conclusive. Most of the evidence is anecdotal or relies too much on Alex's character, and Alex's evidence to disprove Sissif's claims is equally unreliable and sometimes contradictory, like these emails claiming Sissif never existed and was just a troll the entire time. The only people who know the truth are Alex and the alleged Sissifs. As for Alex, it was no secret that he is a sexual deviant. In all of his interests, he could find a sexual side, and so in his alternate channel, Zephon Ava, he has videos on Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. 6 back-to-back are entirely on the 16-year-old Paz Ortega. One is on how to seduce her. The rest are also sexually charged. On this channel, he also has, albeit short, 5 videos on the game Rock Band, where he has made all the members women in bikinis, and that's it. This channel also has a video with every cutscene of Zero Suit Samus in the game Metroid Other M. Besides videos of E3 and Anime Expo, it has clips of random games with interesting happenings like glitches, and is for all intents and purposes an accurate portrayal of the mind of Alex.
Shoot you in the crotch.
Even with all these videos considered, they pale in comparison to his other works, namely his fanfiction, proving both his unchanging nature of needing to sexually charge other works and sexual deviancy that has remained strong, trying to tell a mostly serious story with constant mention of breast and sexually explicit material. On October 31st, 2005, Alex began writing a Soul Calibur fanfiction titled I Am Your Slave. These works, considering they are typically creative outlets with no incentive beyond expression, are expectedly abandoned. Alex was the exception. Nearly 4 years, 59 chapters, and over 300,000 words later, the work was finished. Totaling 350,223 words, this was more than a full-length novel. If converted to a book, that's 1,400 double-spaced pages. Perhaps this was a distraction to help him forget about what he deemed as his shortcomings. The same month this was published, he was again ranting about losing the opportunity with the girl he made out with. As cyclical as Alex's life was, the background elements were progressing, because after 3 years, he graduated from Santa Monica College with an Associate of Arts, Animation, Interactive Technology, Video Graphics, and Special Effects. This is essentially animation with game development. There was no job waiting for him after graduation, so filling the time, he streamed and continued to get notoriety for his sour personality. There exists a 29-second video where Alexander toasts who is presumably a friend for pirating Warcraft 3. In his hand is a goblet of milk that he sips. The audio won't be played because Alex wants to hide this and copyright strikes any copy of it. He even attempts to copyright claim transformative works that in turn bring attention to them. The earliest recreation of him sipping the goblet dates back all the way to February of 2010. Having a poor reputation about non-stop discussion of his sexual frustration birthed this.
I'll never about sex. Toasters.
Stalwart in desires, Alex did not relent. He
Oh
pressed on and attempted to legitimize his writing by not going under Ava Zephon, but his real name, Alex Mahan, as an quote-unquote LA Video Game Babes Examiner that can be found on Examiner.com. Videos uploaded here are the same ones uploaded on his secondary YouTube channel, Zephon Ava, like his video on the Chrome Angels seen on the 2008 Game Awards. Investigating these works could have helped early detractors put together Alex's online identity. Nothing more telling than this article titled, Samus Aran, From Role Model to Sex Object. Here is an excerpt where taking into account Alex's obsession with his character develops a rather unexpected argument. Quote, for so long, Samus had always been the exact opposite of the most common female archetype in video games. The stereotypical sexy babe, wearing minimal clothing while striking provocative poses at every chance. And now, Samus herself, once the very poster child for respectable female leads, has joined the ranks of such bimbos. As of the introduction of the Zero Suit, Samus Aran has lost all mystique. Her face, once a closely guarded secret, is now bared freely, and she wears a form-fitting, skin-tight suit that tightly hugs the curves of her shapely body. She is perfectly ideal, highly attractive, and the most sexually appealing Nintendo character in years, a drastic change from whom she once was. While you will hear no complaints from enthusiasts of the female form, Samus Aran's previous character has been vandalized. She is no longer a woman, but a sexualized woman. It is disrespectful towards Samus to exploit her gender by adding sexuality to what was once an almost genderless character. While fans of the series hope that this trend will not continue, the trailer for the upcoming Metroid Other M reveals that Samus will be once again be making frequent appearances out of a robotic armor for all to see. Unquote. Alex would not detach from his roots, and so this year he attended Anime Expo.
In case you were wondering what it's like to be at Anime Expo, this is what it looks like.
The trip could have been a networking venture because about a month later, in late 2010, he landed a job at a game development company known as Kung Fu Factory. Despite having less time due to longer hours of work and not being able to stream as much as he used to, there exist recordings of the few streams he did during this time. One of them are on the day of the release of the PlayStation Move. While primitive, his setup was functional, even complete with a webcam. Those that joined late would find Alex playing shirtless, a choice influenced by the heat of his living quarters. It was on this stream where Alex reveals that, even though his education laid in animation, he was being hired on as a quality assurance junior game designer.
I'm unhappy because my 3D animation ability is not, I don't think it's going to meet their standards. I don't think they're going to be hiring me on as an animator. Junior game designer, yes. Junior game designer, quality assurance lead, maybe junior animator. Maybe I'll get to do the crappy animations because more skilled animators are too busy doing important things to bother with that crap.
Eventually, his lack of ability in animation will be damning. That, and this Reddit post from a user that goes under what happened to Ava Zap. This is either an excellent troll who is aware of Alexander's job, his style of ranting, and his descriptive insecurities, or it is Alex. And he posted on Reddit, "No woman could ever love me. I must choose between a life of hookers or a life with a real doll. Which should I choose?" The crux of this post is in the last paragraph. Quote, "A real doll is $6,500, but will get a lot of use every day for the rest of my life. A hooker is much cheaper, but even if I only use a hooker once a week or once a month, the cost would easily outweigh a real doll within a year. A real doll is the most financially prudent choice, but a hooker is flesh and blood." Unquote. A real doll, as the name implies, is a life-size sex doll. A real doll that costs that much would be one of high quality, and thus the price would be too steep, for now. Even without this information in the public space, Alex was gaining infamy like never before. There are many anecdotes of him ruling over his streams with an iron fist. Some of his rules demonstrate this, like his strange selection of bad words. While some are common, like the N or F word, others are chosen only due to their repetition in his chat, like variations of lag, internet lingo like pliz, plogs, or MB4, and wording that implies suggestions, such as should've, could've, would've, must've. His online activity, a trail of combativeness and sexual deviancy, were taking form in simple articles and discussions. The first of importance is this one entitled, "Gamers Are Embarrassing, Alex Mahan, a study in gamer embarrassment." Posted April 11, 2011, this reads, quote, "He lists himself as an LA Games babe examiner, which is something no one should ever list themselves as. He apparently writes copious amounts about the various babes in gaming. Apparently, hundreds of articles dedicated to various women in gaming, from all facets of the embarrassing gamer world, from horrible figurines to cosplay to just appreciating in-game models. There is so much to cover here, and I can't even begin to scratch the surface. This guy is pretty much single-handedly illustrating every fucked up aspect of how gamer men deal with women, and he keeps doing it. Feel free to come up with favorite examples in the comments. He also apparently goes by the internet handle Ava Zephon if you feel like finding out more. It's not going to make you happy at all." Unquote. While short, these words resonated with the comments and provided the increasingly recognizable connection between Alex Mahan and Ava Zephon. Comments range from linking to his name on the Urban Dictionary to demonstrate established infamy to his ventures like his streams, his 350,000-word fan fiction, and his unwelcome post from Guy Online. The dangers of centralizing these identities to a single person was very much real. As if only to bring further ridicule, a month after this was posted, Alex created not only the Video Game Babe Twitter account to accompany his articles, but also a YouTube channel under the same name. This channel was entirely devoted to close-ups of the models of video game characters. All of Alexander's previous videos on Zero Suit Samus were also found on here. The constant advertising of his articles was also getting some attention, though ironically, it was not the advertisements that brought attention to him. It was the Streisand effect playing its part. The article calling Alex an embarrassment was now trumped by a Reddit post dated July 2011. The poster shows an image of Alex advertising his articles via sponsored links on Reddit that reads, quote, "Nobody ever visits my subreddit about video game women. Frowny face. Please visit. Maybe you'll like it." Unquote. The user then shows the response to Alex's post that reads, quote, "It's because, in all likelihood, you work for/get paid by Examiner.com to post links over and over to their site, ruining what could have been a good subreddit. Then, you do stuff like get an advertisement and use it to complain about how there are never any visitors on this subreddit." Unquote. The user then shows that they were banned by Alex from that subreddit. This image, compiling all this, was posted to r/gaming, and despite its poor compiling, gained fast traction. With 1.4 thousand upvotes and 474 comments, the comments readily recognize the culprit as Ava Zephon. The top comment labels him as the biggest loser on the internet, recognized by the spamming of his video game streams on 4chan. Some comments equate this to Chris Chan, a different infamous internet figure. One comment, possibly in response to the video of him drinking milk, describes the drink as a goblet of semen. Little did these posters know it that their comments and observations in time would be carried into a solidified image of Alex. As these criticisms boiled over, Alex did not reduce the heat. In fact, on this stream of him playing Rise of Nightmares, he is seen logging into 4chan, where he would advertise his streams to building frustration. Yet he kept spamming and producing fanfiction. Still, in 2011, he wrote one centered around the protagonist of the Legend of Zelda series, titled Death to the World, providing the answer to the question no one asked, quote, "What happens when Link becomes sexually frustrated?" Unquote. As his work at Kung Fu Factory intensified, his online presence dwindled. This was remedied by Alex quitting his job. Alex, as he claimed, was very talented in creating prototypes of games. Fast creations meant to make a concept tangible, to make it sellable. This is why he left in July of 2013 to start work as a freelance developer and try his hand at developing his own game. Maybe that's why, or perhaps a different reason why, Alex was seen requesting a model of Zero Suit Samus rigged for Maya. As it will become apparent, Alex saw only the pros and not the cons in his ability. Though he could create a concept, when trying to flesh out a game and code it efficiently and for the long term is something he could not do. Structure in anything is important. Optimally, when reading code, one can look at it and comprehend how the elements interact with one another. This is clean and understandable. But if these strands take a less optimal route and become harder to follow, while functional, the unwarranted complexity makes these connections look jumbled like a bowl of spaghetti, hence the term spaghetti code. So Alex could develop a concept, but then what was his plan afterwards?
You know, I've seen like videos of people looking at the code for Yandere Simulator, and they're like they look, these are like other game developers who look at this stuff, by the way. but the code is so messed up that you don't even understand what's happening.
Well, the afterwards was hard to achieve, so he just focused on the present. And after considering many different directions, he settled on a fighting game. Taking inspiration from Mike Zymont, an indie developer with recent success from his fighting game Skullgirls, Alex began making his own 2D fighting game. Simply titled Fighting Game, this could be found on his website avazephon.com. On the surface, it was a rudimentary fighting game, but on the back end, it was not even considered that. In November 2013, Alex, seeking advice, joined Mike Z's IRC. This could be equated to joining someone's Discord server. In here, Alex requested Mike, going as Whippler Wonkin, check out his fighting game. The text of the IRC has been preserved and shows the fallout resulting from Mike's advice to Alex. Alex starts by stating, frowny face, everyone hates my fighting game. It's the opposite of what I envisioned. Mike responds with, like, what I got from your demo was, I haven't done most of the work yet, but since I haven't encountered problems, my design is sound and I should ignore your advice. I don't hate the game, I hate your attitude. As the chat progresses, it is understood by the subtext that Alex is not seeking advice for his fighting game, he is seeking praise, as Alex responds with, how is it not impressive that I single-handedly created a fighting game? I made a game with intros, idles, walks, runs, jumps, dashes, air dashes, specials, health meters, super meters, throws, air throws, and I hand animated every animation myself. Isn't that impressive? Isn't that respect-worthy? So there's an organization problem. Can't I hear a single encouraging word? Mike responds with, good job. You did a thing in Unity that runs and renders stuff for you, and you made an update loop and some anims. Good shit, sir. You only want to hear that. The point Mike is trying to get across as an experienced developer that took the time to review Alex's work is to get Alex to understand his work is unimpressive in the competitive market he is trying to enter, and if he is not grounded in creating something not just competent, but uniquely impressive, then he will fail. Alex both makes it clear he does not understand and inadvertently annoys Mike with his petulant attitude by stating, if there is no gratification for what I've done, then it's literally wasted work. Like, why should I ever code again? Alex maintains this attitude throughout the rest of the chat with lines such as, why would I ever bother pursuing my dreams ever again when this is the outcome? That's what I wanted it to be. I wanted to be Mike Z. I wanted to meet somebody cool who could be my Alex Ahad. Still, it gets worse. Not only can Alex not grasp the privilege of having his work reviewed, he spits on that by stating to Mike Z, what kind of ego does it take to make you think that everyone should do exactly what you say and code exactly the way you think they should? The chat members keep on attempting to console Alex, and Alex only pities himself. If this were to play out on a macro scale, it would be catastrophic. Though Alex did, as stated several times, abandon this project, he still remained fixated with creating a fighting game. That's why, on January 2014, a preview for Lunar Scythe, the fighting game Alex turned his attention to, was uploaded on a channel that would only ever host that 29-second preview. Alex also released an 80-megabyte demo. He could be found advertising it on skullhearts.com, a website dedicated to schoolgirls. The feedback here was constructive, but lukewarm at the project. Commenters finding the main character, Luna's design, to be lackluster and too similar of other popular characters, like Red from the show Ruby, who also wields a scythe as a weapon. Alex would work on Lunar Scythe until March, where he gave up on designing fighting games altogether. These two failures, resulting in being virtually unemployed for a year, left him in a desperate situation. It got to the point where he was in talks with Kung Fu Factory, attempting to recuperate his old job. He had one last concept that success would decide his future. He placed that in the potential of a Yandere simulator. In the video game section on 4chan, he talks about this concept. Let's discuss the game mechanics of a Yandere simulator. Set in school, pick a boy, stalk him, kill girls who flirt with him, /talk to /look at him. Stealth gameplay, have to stalk the boy without getting spotted, set up accidents to kill girls, or kill girls without getting caught using a variety of school supplies. Dating sim gameplay, have to win the heart of the boy you have chosen, without letting him find out that you're a jealous and murderous psychopath. Bad end, kill the boy and kill yourself. Good end, kill all harlots who try to steal the boy from you. Live happily ever after. Would V play it? To this, he reportedly got all he wanted from his concepts, and that was positive feedback. So a day later, on April 2nd, he made a second post, and on the 3rd, a third. He also made a YouTube channel for the game, and in the vein of Lunar Scythe, uploaded a short demo where the protagonist is seen photographing their target and beating the woman he is talking to. This has many reasons to succeed, but also many roadblocks placed by Alex's personality and social inability. A yandere is a Japanese word, or at least a portmanteau of two Japanese words. Yanderu, which means to be sick, and dere, which means to be love-struck. There are less destructive archetypes found commonly in media as well, like a tsundere that comes off as harsh, but that is offset with the overpowering emotion of love. These archetypes are fairly new and make their appearances in manga and anime. As the name implies, a yandere is someone who is mentally ill and goes to great extents for their perceived lover. Killing or other equally intense actions are expected from them to maintain their ties with their partner. To be popular, these characters maintain a balance of cuteness and madness and are virtually only women. That is the essence of a yandere and do not have to be in school, though they can be portrayed as such in anime and manga and are commonly written around high school age protagonists. As seen in Alex's video, the classroom setting is one of a Japanese high school. As the idea gained traction, Alex created additional avenues for updates, like a blog that was updated regularly with progress reports. While not yet playable, he did create a simplistic clicker game of the same theme. 4chan was ecstatic and extremely supportive of Alex's idea. Month after month, more videos were released, adding new and necessary updates like the ability to dispose of bodies, a hub area before going to school, and progressively the school itself was being developed. Alex included various polls that allowed voting on the game's mechanics. These ideas and support created a positive feedback loop. Alex was adopting bi-monthly updates, those that were following the development voiced their excitement for the day the alpha build was released, and Alex got the attention he was desperately seeking and could not get from Mike Z. Yandere Dev, as he was calling himself, only used that interaction as fuel to create his indie game. Quote, I was inspired to become an indie dev by a very well-known programmer who almost single-handedly programmed a fighting game. He was my hero, my inspiration, unquote. Here he discusses his falling out with Mike Z, personally reflecting on the interaction as not Mike Z pointing out flaws generously, but instead making me look terrible in front of everyone. I turned my depression into a burning hatred that fuels my desire to develop indie games and eventually outshine that asshole, unquote. But what does alpha build ever come? In this 4chan post, he stated that the public may have to wait until he is done with the game in order to access it. His development hindered by his freelance work as seen here. Quote, I'm sorry, it's just a pet project and I have 2 real jobs, so it can't be my top priority. I'm guessing it might be finished sometime next year, unquote. Already in development for 5 months, these stakes were not high. Alex was not being paid for its development and promised a simple game with simple design. As Alex continued to get popularity as the developer of Yandere Simulator, he was completely detached from avazephon and its other forms. His current audience knew nothing of that infamous figure, but there were a few that connected the dots. Luckily, their knowledge did not extend beyond them. Interestingly enough, as there was chatter about Ava Zephon, a user known as Neon Ava Zephon popped into Gaia requesting that Alex's longest running Gaia topic be deleted, since he could no longer access his old account, citing the thread as embarrassing and likely one to bury his history because, quote, people often Google my username Ava Zephon. That topic is extremely embarrassing for me, and many people ridicule me in present day for posting that thread 9 years ago. I would very much like a moderator to delete that thread so that people stop making fun of me for it, unquote. That thread was not deleted, and for now it was ignored. What fans of the project wanted was to support Alex, and so he asked his newfound audience if they would support a Patreon. Quote, hypothetically speaking, if I made a Patreon for myself, would you guys call me a greedy, money-grubbing, redacted sellout, or would that actually be understandable? Unquote. Alex was getting more desperate as he was nearing reclaiming his old job at Kung Fu Factory, and a successful Patreon could help sustain the development of his game. A Kickstarter could also be an option, but the issues lie within the unclear scope of the game. Alex kept adding new features, but had yet explained what the gameplay beyond killing would be in the long run. There was, as a newly added intro suggested, rivals that would compete for your love interest, and would have to be eliminated. But little was thought out beyond that. Without knowledge like this, it could be hard to gauge the complexity and set a one-time funding goal. Not to mention that though the audience he was garnering was large, comparatively to what he had before, there is no possible way it would garner enough attention to hit a funding goal for the development of an entire game. But if this was to succeed, either way, he would need funding soon. Quote, my financial situation is a lot different than it was back in April. It's hard for me to turn away donations these days, unquote. That's why, late 2014, he launched a Patreon and, alongside it, released a very early version of the game. By the end of December, he was up to 20 patrons and $140 a month. By January 8th, while retaining the same amount of patrons, his monthly earnings were down $85. It was around this time that he found out, or rather other people did, that Yandere Dev made a great mistake when commissioning an art piece for his game. The link on DeviantArt originally read, Comish Yandere Simulator for Ava Zephon. It was on this thread where he was pushing the long-thought abandoned lunar site where users made this discovery. A different user reacted by stating, Yandere Dev is fucking Ava Zephon. This cannot be real. It can't be. A different user was displeased that Yandere Dev had his sights set on a different game while committed to Yandere Simulator. Is he seriously wasting money on this crap? Hell, if you are still here, you stupid fuck, focus on Yandere Sim and throw this shit to the trash. There were a few other instances that made this faint connection corporeal. On the smaller side, he was seen posting pictures of Samus Aran, a character Ava Zephon paid great attention to. Most obvious yet was a recent update. Initially, Yandere Dev, with his YouTube videos, opted on allowing visual examples for his update videos. Then, on December 2014, he began adding his own narration.
In Yandere Sim, the player's reputation determines how they are treated by other students. The bar at the top left corner of the screen represents the player's reputation.
With Alex having a rather unique, raspy voice, it was not hard to tie Yandere Dev and Ava Zephon together. Despite a pocket of outrage, it, at the time, meant nothing. The stakes and the patrons were low, and Yandere Dev still had to appeal to one audience base. Quote, if they bitch about the game being too violent or explain women or something stupid like that, I'll just be thankful for the publicity. I don't want to intentionally make the game edgy just for the sake of controversy, but I don't intend to compromise the game's content just to avoid offending people either. Unquote. There was something going on in the background virtually no one knew about. Through the month of January, a user known as Cannot Google Me, whose email address is alleged to be avazephon@mail.com, discovered when a user tried to reset the password with the email, or so they claim. On this Real Doll forum, Cannot Google Me asked questions on how to use a doll and avoid things that may ruin it. When it eventually arrived, this person deemed it my waifu, and later addressed it as Zero Suit Samus, going as far to say, quote, do you know who Zero Suit...
My waifu. Yeah, oh my god, wait. Wait. It'd be helpful if I fucking spelled it right. My waifu. Hold up.
Quote, if they bitch about the game being too
Hold
violent, or
up.
explain women or something stupid like that, I'll just be thankful for the publicity. I don't want to intentionally make the game edgy just for the sake of controversy, but I don't intend to compromise the game's content just to avoid offending people either. Unquote. There was something going on in the background virtually no one knew about. Through the month of January, a user known as Cannot Google Me, whose email address is alleged to be avazephon@mail.com, discovered when a user tried to reset the password with the email, or so they claim. On this Real Doll forum, Cannot Google Me asked questions on how to use a doll and avoid things that may ruin it. When it eventually arrived,
Oh my god, that's sad. So he added in his sex doll into his game. Oh, that's just sad.
this person deemed it my waifu, and later addressed it as Zero Suit Samus, going as far to say, quote, do you know who Zero Suit Samus is? I think she is utter perfection, so I decided to make my doll cosplay as her. This was 90% of the reason for buying the doll. I wanted to make Samus real, unquote. At this point, everyone was none the wiser. In February, with continued updates, his Patreon was up to 37 patrons and $212. A new market was taking note of his work, one that he had yet considered, only to later develop the game virtually around them.
Hi guys, it's Incel. This is a very early sandbox build. It's not even like the proper game at the moment of Yandere Simulator.
So I saw Manga Minx playing this game, and I'm like, yep, I need to check it out right now.
Okay, so this game has been requested for a long time now, and I'm starting to get an idea why.
These set of dominoes fell into place perfectly. A chain of events that over months attracted new content creators, new players, and new funders for Yandere Dev's Patreon. What started as a perplexing sandbox exploration turned into creators, including the most subscribed channel in the world, making multi-part series, having their interest reinvigorated with frequent updates. As Yandere Dev was learning, he had something very special here. He tapped into a marketable supply. Japanese media has been increasingly capturing Western audiences, and with Yandere Dev being a connoisseur of such art mixed with his Western origin, was a space where his implementations were appreciated.
This is a wonderful feeling.
Unlike his previous ventures, where his perspectives on characters came off as bland and uninspired, his additions to this new project were mostly beloved in the accuracy in which he portrayed tropes and elements anime aficionados like him appreciated. By July, after a massive sweep of creators playing the game, Yandere Dev on his Patreon was up to 724 patrons and $4,200 a month. With this money, he did not have to go back to Kung Fu Factory. He did not need to work on side projects. He could devote his time to developing the game.
I think we may
Yeah, but he
have
didn't.
a point in time when it's possible to deliver new updates every 2 weeks.
However, this funding came with the cost of an exception that updates would be pumped out faster. Optimally, with patrons, or virtually any project, fan support monetarily or beyond, the developer will use funds for living expenses while they develop the game and manage themselves in a way that continues to drum up support. And donators understand that even with money donated, unless promised something, they are not owed anything. This is not always the case. On the flip side, you will have developers that lack the ability to communicate where the funding goes or comes off as unappreciated, and you will have fans that once breaching the monetary barrier feel like they are owed something and treat their money as investment. Not only that, these fans can come from different communities that want opposing things. 4chan specifically was weary with this new attention Yandere Dev was getting, not only because it had been established that Yandere Dev was infamous Evizepon, but also that these quote-unquote normies, or PewDiePie and other content creators' fan bases would skew development. With this increase in attention, there
Yeah, but also the problem with him making that much money at the time, I remember this. The problem with him making that much money at the time is whenever he would update the fucking game, he would add in an Easter egg which didn't need to be in the game. Like, he would add in some random fucking anime character to a game that people were waiting to play the full version of and kill all 10 rivals.
There were opinionated pieces opposing some of the game mechanics, like this article from Game War. Quote, yet the game often feels tone deaf on real problems found within young women's educational experiences. Bullying and harassment are two core gameplay mechanics that Yandere uses to isolate senpai's love interest, often mirroring the same experience with social isolation and suicidal ideation that young teenagers regularly face. And Yandere's distribution of non-sexual sexual photography trivializes sexual exploitation in public school settings, and downplays its invasive impact on young women. While Yandere Simulator is an intriguing concept, many of the game's design mechanics translate predatory behavior into a form of entertainment, which sanitizes their abusive role in young women's educational experiences. Unquote. Yandere Dev actually responded to this by stating in his development blog, quote, I don't think it can be said that Yandere Simulator sanitizes harassment, suicide, or sexual exploitation. The player is punished harshly for being caught performing unethical actions, unquote. He looked to be stalwart and desires to capture his image of the game. Not a difficult thing to balance, considering the opinions against those elements in the game were not popular. But there were a few things that were seeming to disturb his newly reached audience.
Change. Why? Why would I need that? Why? Oh, hey, everyone knows that if a girl wears white panties, she must be a pure and innocent angel. Something tells me I'm not. Whoa. This seems weird. Is this necessary to the game?
Some leaned into the absurdity like PewDiePie.
Whoa, I'm in here now. I can what? You see why I say it's my favorite game? Because I can change my underwear. They're all dirty.
And it was not entirely that you could pick out panties for Ayano, the protagonist of Yandere Simulator, to wear. It was that taking panty shots of students was a mechanic that had one of his own videos removed. Yandere then explained that it is a core gameplay mechanic, but the gameplay can be played without utilizing it.
As it turns out, one of my videos has been removed as a violation of YouTube's policy on nudity or sexual content. You see, in
What
that
the
video, I was
fuck did you
demonstrating
expect?
I was demonstrating that it's possible to take panty shots of girls in Yandere Simulator. Now, taking panty shots actually has a gameplay purpose. If you take a panty shot, you can then send it to a character who will do favors for you in exchange for pictures of girls' underwear. This is a core gameplay mechanic.
However, late 2015,
That's
it was finally seeing
disgusting.
realization and therefore exposure to a larger audience.
I will say,
Excellent. Now I have a picture of PP Osu's.
I never used that mechanic because I didn't even know it was there.
Oh my god. PP Osu's panties. I owe you a favor for this one.
That video was age restricted. It could have been that, or the Easter egg that made the characters giant naked models as to mimic the Titans from the popular anime Attack on Titan. Or it could have been the showering in the school that will be plowed to provide scant coverage of the player's body. YouTube and viewers alike saw it inappropriate to sexualize characters that are high school age. What most people wanted from this game was a mix of cutesy and edginess. These sexual implications were continuously frowned upon. This is a sign Alex could not shake. Even on his Twitter, as Yandere Dev, he was leaning more into what Little wanted, when tweeting, quote, after I've grown old and retired, I'd like to live on a ranch. An anime girl breeding a ranch, and die in a stampede, unquote. This has an attached image of anime girls in a pen. It was apparent that Alex was not melding well with his newfound
Ew.
popularity, and with audience members that did not share his constant, outward sexual desires. Quote, the real question is, why am I making Yandere Simulator instead of making Waifu Raising and Breeding Simulator 2015? Unquote. As Alex continued to do things like this, his history as Evizepon was being exposed. At the same time, with his newly found popularity, he began taking volunteers to help him develop the game. His communications with volunteers sometimes took the medium of emails. This became another issue when fans were using this as a way to reach Alex. In April, he created a post to address this. Quote, yesterday, I was unavailable to answer emails, and so my emails piled up. Today, I was answering emails from 8 a.m. until 12 midnight. I didn't even get to write code for the game today.
Okay, dude. If you are answering emails from 8 a.m. until 12 midnight, then you have a fucking problem. It takes 2 seconds to answer an email. You read it, that's like 1 second, and then you respond to it. Like, it's not that fucking difficult. And if it's not something that you need to respond to right away, put it on the back burner. It's not that hard.
Unquote. Below, he explains where emails are acceptable and unacceptable. Little did anyone know how big of an issue this would become. Before that, however, he was experiencing issues with every aspect of development, like battling with his inability to manage this new influx of volunteers. The complaints became so severe that he made a blog post to address his shortcomings, like the lack of communication via backup emails and the building drama surrounding the project and him. To try to tackle the email backup, and after unsuccessfully deterring fan emails, he tried again in June 2015, restating what is and isn't acceptable reasons to email him. He also tried to create volunteer forms to help in formatting of emails in order to go through them faster. In this update in July, he threatened the development of the game by stating, quote, "I hate to say it, but it's looking extremely likely that I might not be able to implement very much new content into the game on July 15th, because I now spend 90% of my time writing emails and 10% of my time writing code for the game," unquote. Readers were catching on to his ranting and game.
You know why else you can't make big fucking updates? Because you're focusing too much on adding Easter eggs into the game instead of actually focusing on the core game. Your emails? I don't care. I don't care about your fucking emails. If you're making a game and you're adding Easter eggs into the game, add those after you have the game finished. It's not that fucking hard.
Gave suggestions. Have you ever thought about, like, just hiring someone or asking a volunteer to go through your emails? How about just having multiple emails? One for bugs, one for volunteers, and one for fan art. Perhaps, instead of getting a secretary, you could just make a dedicated email strictly for bug reports, unquote. These went ignored. Still in July, in yet another post, he states, quote, "Even though I've been doing literally nothing but eating, sleeping, and reading emails for the past several days, I've still got dozens of emails remaining to answer, and I seem to be getting new ones at a faster rate that I can answer the old ones. So the pile keeps growing. Most of the emails that I'm replying to are several days old already," unquote. This came to a head at July 2015. Instead of applying recommendations seen in his comments, he released a video titled, "Emails, Volunteers, and Progress Part 1.
I'm sorry. I don't have any new gameplay features to show you today. You deserve to know the reason why. In order to tell you, I need to explain something first. I receive an extremely high volume of emails every day, between 50 and 100. Most of these emails are essential for the development of the game.
Yandere Dev goes on to explain that this influx of volunteers and his time spent at Anime Expo consumed so much of his time, not a single line of code was added.
You know what's funny though? Him making all these fucking things about his email. That just drew more attention to the fucking email. Like, if you don't want to continue getting so many emails, stop answering the ones that aren't important and stop bringing attention to it.
Added to the game. The controversial bit looks to have come from his dismissing of solutions to his email problems.
Yandere Dev, why don't you just hire a secretary to filter your emails and answer questions for you?
Yandere Dev then details 5 points that are all sourced from a pre-developed image of an incompetent secretary, dismissing it entirely, even just for the possibility. He also gave an answer to the recommendation of having separate email accounts.
Why don't you just have 2 separate email accounts? One for volunteers and one for everything else.
What? No, that wouldn't help at all. I don't want to manage 2 separate email accounts.
Even the idea of a forum was dismissed.
So anyway,
Yandere Dev, why don't you make a forum where volunteers can post their progress and collaborate?
okay, I guess I can see how you think that would be a good idea, but honestly, that would just be another place that I have to manage and administrate and supervise, so no.
His message and stubbornness in not exploring the recommended solutions was made clear in part 1. Yet he made the second part where he states what kind of emails he will not answer. He took time in this video to address his additions of Easter eggs, a different point of discontent that was controversial not just because of the volume, but also because they did not progress the game in any way, and was more and more seeming to be implemented as used for bait to continue ramping up interest rather than focus on progression.
Yandere Dev, why do you keep adding silly Easter eggs to the game if your time is so limited?
Okay, please, don't tell me to stop putting Easter eggs in the game. It only takes me 30 seconds to add them anyway.
Besides
Stop putting Easter eggs in your game.
this conversation with Mike Ziamont, it was more clear than ever that Alex was not prepared for success and the commitment it took to make a game. He even laments in this video the displeasures the complications were adding.
I miss the old days. Back when I didn't get dozens of emails every day. Back when I had enough spare time to actually write code for the game. Back when I didn't have to worry about disappointing any donators, because there were no donators. Back when I didn't worry about artwork and just used the white cubes for everything. Back when I actually had time to watch anime and play video games. It was so easy and fun to work on the game back then. What happened?
Yeah, dude, I don't feel bad for you. I truly don't feel bad for you. You have people donating money to you, and yet you're focusing more. Like, this money is, they're donating it for the game. They want this to go towards you making a game. But yet you're spending more time answering stupid fucking emails.
Where did I go wrong?
Regardless, this video does end on a positive note. His time spent not writing code was spent organizing volunteers that were progressing the game.
Even though I haven't been writing code, I've been receiving character designs, new models, new animations, planning story events, establishing rules, gathering reference footage, and more. In other words, tons of progress is still being made on the game.
He estimated the game was currently 8% complete. For the next couple months, the game progressed with some regular updates and many bug fixes. More and more, there were different methods of killing added. Some may say it was eerily similar to the Hitman game series, where the game awards a player for setting up complicated and sneaky kills for its targets. Yandere Dev, taking inspiration from this game, sought to implement more and more of these, enough to where the player could naturally discover them through experimentation rather than need to rely on guides. Like the Hitman series, Yandere Simulator was aiming to be a semi-sandbox game that gives players slack and rewards them for how they approach increasingly complex puzzles. At this point in development, deeper mechanics required implementation, where updates prior were new additions, like you saw, now less impactful but necessary things had to be added, like changing the school environment when too many students were assassinated, and a plethora of realistic and diverse reactions from students and other parties when things go awry. The sandbox element was going to need to cater to all play styles and find ways to reward and punish players for those that go the route of bullying rivals, for example. Here, you can manipulate the school's social atmosphere, and that itself requires tremendous work. This also had skills and other RPG elements, like stats, and being able to join clubs added onto the complexity. Not to mention that it was unsure how rivals, or the love interest of the boy the Yandere girl was infatuated with, would be added. Other elements, like adding a roster of unique students with some shared traits, was expanding the game tremendously, adding more work to be done. With this in mind, Yandere Dev kept making the mistake of estimating when the game would be complete. Now, in October 2015, in this Twitter post, he set an expectation of it taking 10 months to complete the default story, and possibly 1 month per rival. As updates load, in a combination of coding its in-depth mechanics, Yandere Dev continued his war on emails, sometimes passively, like this video where Ayana was going around seeking her love interest.
Have you seen my senpai?
I haven't seen anything all day. I'm too busy writing emails to Yandere Dev to waste his time with stupid questions.
You should stop that.
Then directly in several blog posts, and another video.
Oh my god. I can't believe he made the voice actors. These voice actors, by the way, they did this for free. Voice actors, if you didn't know, they don't make a lot of money. They don't make a lot of money because it's a very, like, you're unemployed most of the time kind of thing. And yet he's making his volunteer voice actors do this. He's making Michaela fucking Laws do that. No.
Work faster when I receive less email. So, if you want Yandere Simulator's development to proceed faster, please read this blog post about what kind of email you should not send me.
His first update of 2016, while sizable, left crumbs to later be discovered. Painfully so. Quote, I didn't expect Yandere Simulator's development to last this long. I think that this is a good time to make a video announcing how many features remain, how long it will take to implement those features, how I plan to secure funding, and how people can help out. Unquote. Yandere Dev did make that video, expressing that, with a shallower concept, Yandere Simulator could have been finished much earlier.
I intended to make a simple game that could be developed by one man working alone. I expected the game to be finished by December 2014. As I worked on the game, I received lots of cool suggestions and began expanding the scope of the game. The game evolved from something that one man could create in 8 months to something that required a team of people. With each passing month, the game's design became even more complex.
Without guarantee and only estimation, Yandere Dev in this video made the naive mistake of setting goalposts.
So, if it takes me 6 months to implement all of the remaining elimination methods, and 6 months to implement all of the remaining Kickstarter criteria, then the Kickstarter would be ready about 12 months from now, in January 2017. If the Kickstarter is released 1 year from now, that means that the full version of Yandere Simulator won't be finished until 2019, 3 years from now.
By setting this deadline, Yandere Dev sowed the seeds of discontent that could flourish in the absence of a final product.
And guess what? It's 2024 and he still hasn't finished the fucking game.
Now, more than ever, people were following his outline of required additions for his Kickstarter that, if released, would fast-track development of the game. For this, you needed all club buffs functional, all panty buffs functional, all school subjects buffs functional, all school locations implemented, new attack animations, an intro cutscene, protagonist customization, sound effects for everything that should make a sound, side note that shouldn't take 1 day, a guidance counselor who will punish you for misbehaving, a rival girl who interacts with senpai multiple times throughout the week, a cutscene where the rival confesses her love to senpai, NPCs that follow a proper Japanese school schedule, NPCs that react properly to corpses, blood, weapons, dismembered limbs, screams, etc. At least 5 different personality types for NPCs, snap mode. All of this was meant to take 6 months. The other 6 months were dedicated to the rest of the elimination methods. So in all, he had 1 year to do all this. On his side was the advertising machine that came from other content creators. PewDiePie had released 10 videos on the game, counting in the tens of millions of views. Markiplier was on video 5, yet played as much as PewDiePie considering his videos were longer. Yandere Dev not even had his own media presence. His channel in January breached 400,000 subscribers. So far, every time his Patreon dipped in supporters, it made an immediate recovery, with it hovering 4 to 5,000 daily. This irregularity, this crowdfunding via support of the creator and not a direct Kickstarter to a game, placed Yandere Dev in the top 10 most funded games via Patreon. The YouTube community was doing as much as it could. With supporters watching closer than ever, the importance of the January update, as Yandere Dev was sticking to bi-monthly updates, once at the first of the month and once at the 15th, was superbly important to demonstrate a work ethic and progress support that could hit all goals stated in his update video. There was a minor hiccup before the update, with him wanting to rename the game Lovesick, as a direct translation of Yandere to English. But due to backlash, it went nowhere, as players love the charm of the now widely recognized term. This and another post telling people not to email him came right before his progress report 2 weeks into 2016. It was lackluster to say the least. Only bug fixes with a sting of yet another Easter egg, Sans mode, adding Sans from the popular indie game Undertale without the approval or even knowledge of the creator of the game, but later amended that the creator did end up getting permission. As for the update, Yandere Dev even stated, quote, yikes, what an embarrassing changelog. Hopefully I'll have a much more impressive one on February 1st, unquote. Little did he know there would be an important development before then.
Yes, that's right. Broadcasting Yandere Simulator on Twitch may result in your account being suspended. So, why was Yandere Simulator banned? Was it the bullying, kidnapping, torture, suicide, or perhaps the panty shots? I don't know. Twitch won't tell me.
With Yandere Dev unaware on why the game was banned and how to modify it to get it unbanned, perhaps by making the game less lewd with certain Easter eggs or increasing the bubble coverage, there was one mechanic he did not want to do away with.
If Twitch has a problem with panty shots, then we have a serious issue, because I'm not going to remove any features from the game just so that Twitch will approve of it.
Twitch was hardly the only one pushing back against this game and its mechanics. Still, in January, Yandere Dev on Tumblr made a blog post directed towards a single person that he only called N. Quote, "This individual, who I will refer to as N, expressed her belief that Twitch chose to ban broadcast of Yandere Simulator because it contains sexualized underage characters." Unquote. Yandere Dev, from this, creates a massive blog post attempting to back his argument that there are no underage characters in sexual situations in Yandere Simulator. This goes from trying to defend his game to N, accusing Yandere Dev of being a redacted, then takes a blog post in an unexpected direction with Yandere Dev insulting N by stating that, quote, "This should have been my cue that N completely lacked even the slightest degree of reading comprehension skill, because I had just explained that someone who passed the age of consent is not magically ready for sex just because they had a certain number of birthdays. I pointed out that there are many people under the age of 18 who had sexual experiences without being traumatized. She demanded to know if I would permit a 14-year-old to have sex with a grown man if the 14-year-old had passed the sex license test that I proposed. Well, obviously, if there's a test that objectively proves that a person is ready for sex and a person passes that test, then that person is objectively ready for sex. This is simple logic, but N lacked the mental capacity to figure this out for herself." Unquote. Defending the possibility of sexual relations between a minor and an adult under any circumstances was not a good look on Yandere Dev. This blog post, without aim, full of spiteful language and unfavorable concepts, may have received support from his fans, but again, like with Ava Zephon, he was unwittingly planting seeds of discontent to be later discovered. As for right now, Yandere Simulator being the 26th game banned from Twitch rang alarm bells. If marketing brought this much attention to the game and its Patreon, with a lack of @C and inverse in funding, with foresight, we see that the ban did not affect the game's funding whatsoever. It could have harmed the potential roof for funding, but Yandere Dev's Patreon remained at a steady $45,000 a month. As February rolled over, Yandere Dev rampantly released another progress report, making steady progress by adding necessary character traits and updating some clubs the character could join.
If it seems like there aren't very many new features in this build, it's because I didn't have much time to work with. I spent around 7 days optimizing and fixing some very inefficient code that had been bothering me for a long time. I still wish I could spend even more time optimizing the code and trying to improve the frame rate. But I don't want to let too much time pass without adding significant new features to the game.
The subtext here is that Alex is feeling the pressure to continue updating the game, but has finally hit the wall placed by his rapid and inefficient coding, admitting to spending his time pushing updates rather than preparing the game for its upcoming complex mechanics. In March, there were more additions to clubs, some moving around assets. Overall development still remained steady, and Alex continued his tirade against emails. In April, he was finally ready to talk on what he deems the biggest obstacle in development.
If this one obstacle could be removed, I would have much more time to work on the game, and the game's development would go by much faster. The problem is email.
He then states he sometimes goes through his emails 8 to 12 hours a day. After stating what emails he does not want to receive, he goes on to show what kind of volunteers he does not want. He then states the same reasons he won't explore potential solutions like getting a secretary or making separate emails.
Stop right there. After 2 years of this nonsense, I've already heard every single possible suggestion about how I can solve my email problem. There is no idea that you could...
The fucking solution is to stop answering and looking at emails that are not helping.
possibly suggest that I haven't already shot down. So don't send me your brilliant ideas for how to solve my email problems, because it's not going to work.
A criticism that Alex has seen time and time again wasn't so much about Yandere Simulator or even the emails. It was his melodramatic nature. With the connection between Yandere Dev and Ava Zephon clear with his continued usage of the Ava Zephon website, his history as an anime-loving incel shut-in, and moments like the time he announced his intent to make a successful indie game to outshine Mike Ziamon had people believe Alex never stopped using anime as a reference to reality. Perhaps to him, this is his manga and he is the protagonist against all these fools dragging him down. Hence the melodrama and this section that closed out his email video.
You know, there was a point in time when I was a very nice and patient person, but working on this game for the past 2 years has been very stressful, and it has sucked all of the niceness out of me. I no longer have any patience left.
Ever since his increase in popularity, while opinionated, Alex has kept his personal developments and shortcomings to himself, opting to keep those private, but inadvertently and publicly signal his lack of social improvement and or adaptation to his new role. As for Yandere Simulator, he was seeing issue, not with the lack of updates, but issue with trying to expand, to add more and more to a fanbase that is shown to dislike major changes in gameplay and a focus on panties or sexualizing characters in game. In June alone, he pitched a beat-em-up feature to the game that due to backlash, he quickly withdrew. And later in the month, an inventory system where Ayana opens her dress, revealing the items kept within. Taking the center of the screen would be her panties. This was also scrapped. These ideas, mainly the sexual ones, or the ones that may deviate from what is considered acceptable, resonate stronger with the culture and HM boards, something that he was being ridiculed by frequently. Mid-2016, Yandere Dev went to Anime Expo and interacted with fans. Here, he was seeing the concentrated cultural impact of his game. With a crowd surrounding him, he saw people cosplaying as his characters. He was getting gifts and attention. Achan was quick to discuss a video showing this, saying that Yandere Dev sold out. After many comments, Yandere Dev joins in and states, quote, "Okay, I'm going to look at the facts here. Go to Reddit. Everyone behaves in a civil manner. It's possible to have constructive discussion about the game. Go to Anime Expo. Everyone is nice, friendly, enthusiastic. People want to hug me, shake my hand, take selfies. Go to 4chan/Achan. Everyone is bitter, cynical, pessimistic. Everyone just shitpost and calls me a redacted, a sellout, and an SJW. You know what? That's it. I'm done. You guys aren't worth it. You guys fucking suck. You could have had a developer at your beck and call, making a game custom tailored to your exact tastes, but not anymore. You bit the hand that feeds you. Now I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. Fuck all of you. Go to hell." Unquote. As it is Yandere Dev, one could expect further lashing out. In a reply to a Reddit post, he specifies that Reddit is now his platform of choice because he feels they rarely criticize him and cater to providing feedback to the game. Also in July, he posted a diagram showing how he spends his time. In here, he states that Yandere Simulator, quote, is around 45% complete, unquote. Also providing examples of other indie games with long development times upwards of 5 years. These two together were for the time impressive. He jumped from 8% complete to 45% in about a year. Following this pace, the game should be done in around a year or two. Not included in this chart are his angry rants found wherever he is, directed towards anyone that gives criticism. That means friend or foe, or just modders. As discussed discovered and posted by content creator Stickman when using a mod, in this case one that changes the size of Ayano. This text pops up on screen that reads, quote, "Sorry YouTuber, but you have to stop using this stupid mod. People keep reporting bugs that can only occur due to the use of this mod. I don't want to receive emails about bugs that only occur when the player uses a mod, so I have to prevent this mod from being able to function. Blame the people who are stupid enough to submit bug reports because of a mod," unquote. After Stickman uploaded the video with a secret text, Yandere Dev comments on the video, quote, "No, you can fuck right off. You've got absolutely no clue what you're talking about, you fucking dumbass," unquote. It is unknown what triggered such a strong response from Yandere Dev, as the original video is gone, but not the archive of his comment that became the topic of a Reddit post several months later. It is here that Yandere Dev defends his actions. Quote, "That guy made me really angry, so I gave him peace of my mind. I don't think that there is much more to say," unquote. The responses of support and the dislike ratio in Stickman's video show that the community was largely supportive of Yandere Dev, their knowledge likely limited to his curated friendly persona seen on his channel. However, as Yandere Dev was becoming more and more aggressive, with only minor backlash, in the background there was building opposition, consisting of readers following only the drama around Yandere Dev. Similarly, ex-fans turned detractors and ex-volunteers that left for a multitude of reasons were added as well. Some have a more nuanced look on Alex, stating he has an inflated ego and is poor at communication. Others, like Wunkalo, who left the project in 2015, among the previously presented issues, had ideological conflicts with Yandere Dev and even some of the team. Quote, "When I left the team and pointed out his ways and the discomfort I had in his future visions for the game, he defended his stances and claimed his entire dev team was a team full of perverts, and took the stance of being a proud pervert." Some excerpts. "I'm a perverted sexual demon, and I absolutely love to perv on sexy video game girls and anime girls. That's a core part of who I am, and I'll openly, publicly, and eagerly state that fact absolutely anywhere. The 2D artist I'm working with regularly draws women in extremely lewd outfits. The 3D character modeler I'm working with enjoys modeling sexy young women very much. I've already found 5 other perverts. Now I just need to find one who can model props environments," unquote. While these and other lengthy Tumblr posts that archive images of Alex's controversial statements and jokes as Ava Zephon and Yandere Dev brought attention to Alex and his behavior, the disjointed critics, criticisms that are subjective rather than objective, and the steady progress the game was making did nothing to his Patreon that remained at $5,000 a month. On YouTube, he even hit 1 million subscribers, and in October he placed a new emphasis on the purpose of the game, one that is at the center of it. While creators seem to enjoy the wildness the game offers, the vision Yandere Dev had on the note of the Hitman game series was adding select targets that increased in difficulty as the game progressed, and so finally the premise and scope of the game was set. Ayano, the Yandere girl, is an emotionless brick, an entity that is brought to life following a bumping into her love at first sight, her senpai. But she notices this person is quite popular. The game will encompass 10 weeks at Ayano's school. Every week, senpai gets a new love interest. Ayano has to then sabotage this love prospect before it turns into a relationship. 10 weeks means 10 rivals. Now the first rival was announced. A different trope, a tsundere with distinct orange hair and polka dot thigh-high socks. This rival, this first love interest and competitor, was simply known as Osana. The importance of this character was to set order and assist him to advance the game properly. Yandere Dev understood this and stated this exactly in his video.
"When you try to take down Osana, I want you to feel like you're experiencing a demonstration of what the final game will be like, not just killing a test subject in a glitchy debug sandbox. When Osana is implemented, I want you to feel like one of the final pieces of the puzzle has clicked into place, instead of feeling like Yandere Simulator is still a giant incomplete puzzle that is missing most of its pieces. I do not want to release a build that has a half-functional Osana. So, once I begin working on implementing Osana, you won't be getting any new builds until Osana is 100% functional. Considering everything that is required to add Osana to the game, that could take at least 1 month."
This was an amazing announcement. The first complex and truly unique character beyond Ayano and her senpai was being introduced. A character that would be the center of gameplay for 7 in-game days, full of its own elimination tactics, animations, voice acting, cutscenes, and other ways to sabotage her would-be relationship. All of this was going to take, as Yandere Dev stated, 1 month.
"The next big addition to the game is Osana, the first official rival. I've made a lot of progress towards adding her to the game. However, it could be another month or 2 months until she's complete."
But a month went by and no Osana. An additional 2 weeks and still no Osana. There was a new mode added, but in this update, Alex stated he was taking time off for the next 2 weeks. This means no progress towards Osana. What was Alex concerning himself with, if not speeding up the development of this important character? That answer was found on Reddit. Quote, "A few days ago, I realized that Markiplier hadn't made a new Yandere Sim video in 5 months. That made me feel kind of nervous. Did I do something wrong? Does he hate the game now? I was very happy to learn he was putting together another Yandere Simulator video," unquote. This tells much about Alex, because the way this reads and Alex's prior emphasis on content creators' videos confirms this validation. To be self-isolating with no sense of self, to then be an overnight success, must have felt insanely rewarding. One could only imagine that feeling and fear of losing that high, now threatened by creators losing interest, brought on by loss of novelty and meaningful updates. A lack of Osana. In December, Alex addressed this, as well as a lack of complete mechanics. He needed to publish a Kickstarter.
"Originally, my personal goal was to implement Osana before January 1st, but this is no longer likely to happen. I underestimated how long it would take for all of Osana's necessary assets to be created. To make this process go by faster, I should have requested the assets months in advance. This is something that I will take into consideration when planning future rivals for Yandere Simulator. It's very unlikely that any rival girl will take as long to implement as Osana has taken."
In this new calendar, it shows his plan to release the Kickstarter has moved to April. Osana has been moved to February of 2017. Osana has now been delayed 4 months past the original deadline.
"Over the past year, I've been struggling with a problem. On January 21st, 2016, Yandere Simulator was added to Twitch TV's list of prohibited games."
Alex, now a year to the date, was displeased with Yandere Simulator's Twitch ban. While that much is understandable considering he discusses how many different ways he attempted to reach out to Twitch only to be ignored, pestering Twitch and stirring discontent would theoretically only keep his game banned, as Twitch would not want to set the precedent of being able to be strong-armed by developers or their audiences, especially ones as unprofessional and accusatory as Yandere Dev. In the same video, he gave 5 reasons his game could be banned. 1 through 4 were a possible misunderstanding, salacious content that he removed, Twitch has an anti-anime bias, and Twitch also has a bias against smaller games and studios that are not popular enough to circumvent Twitch's vague rules. Number 5 was the most blindsiding.
Number 5. Twitch has been taken over by those people. You know who I'm talking about, right? Brave warriors, fighting for justice by bullying people and attempting to ban anything they don't like.
Later in the video, there was a call to action that Alex at the same time stated he did not support.
Number 1. Maybe if hundreds of thousands of people simultaneously email Twitch's support team and demand an explanation for why Yandere Simulator is banned, Twitch will finally respond to me in order to stop the avalanche of emails. However, I don't think that this is the right solution. If I asked my 1.2 million YouTube subscribers to email Twitch on my behalf, Twitch may perceive this as an attack and would retaliate by never unbanning the game. So I don't think this is the right course of action.
Not wanting to rely on aggressive techniques, Alex opts to supplement them with a more passive one of a similarly strong army nature.
Number 3. If this video gets enough attention, eventually someone at Twitch will see it. They will notice how many views it's getting, and they will say, oh my god, we need to fix this problem right away.
A week later, after realizing the problem with his solution of besmirching Twitch's image to repair relations, he released another video explaining his mistakes, taking the perspective of Twitch and why they would have possibly banned Yandere Simulator. It wasn't until February that he got a response from Twitch, giving him the exact reason the game was banned.
2 gameplay modes depicting characters in the new, a mechanic in which the player takes panty shots to use as currency for favors from others. The only method of eliminating rivals was to murder them. The setting, intent of gameplay, and age of victims indicate the game is about violence against and sexual harassment of underage characters in a school setting.
Twitch also explains that even with the removal of these features, the game may remain banned because the game is still in development, and those mechanics imply that the perverse nature of the game would be expanded on, so Twitch acted preemptively. They are willing to give it a second look, but only after the game is feature complete.
In the future, as Yandere Simulator becomes feature complete, we would be happy to review it again.
The game was still lacking all of its 10 rivals and had not included the first one. Yandere Dev made sure to keep adding salt to this scratched wound. Twitch was hardly the only one pressing Yandere Dev for a release date or for faster development. That's why mid-February, right after the Twitch debacle, Yandere Dev explains in 2 videos that the ever-expansive scope of the game, combined with his inexperience and burnout, is what is causing the delays. A solution he brings forward is having an experienced company take over.
I've already been approached by multiple companies who have expressed an interest in getting involved with Yandere Simulator's development in exchange for a cut of the game's profits. They've proposed deals that involve me giving up 50% of the game's profits, or losing ownership of the game's intellectual property, or removing certain features from the game. These terms are all very unappealing to me.
Another solution was to eliminate stress by downgrading the game's development to just a hobby by closing its Patreon. This could lower the overall controversy surrounding the project if Alex stepped away, yet he is equally reserved.
But all of my fans would hate me, someone else would develop a Yandere-themed game to take the place of my game, I would fade from memory, and all of the work I've done over the past 3 years would be for nothing.
As Alex was increased.
Okay, main thing I'm getting from this is now that he has like all of the attention on himself, he doesn't want to lose it. So he has all of the shit. And he's afraid of losing it. You know?
Exposing, he views the game as more than something to be developed. He sees it as an achievement that validates him. Holding his work this close would not do him well. For now, accompanying this video was a poll. The options were to keep doing what he has been doing, downgrade development to a hobby, begin working with the company, or launch a crowdfunding campaign. The popularity of the choices were also in that order, as voters wanted Yandere Dev to continue his method of development regardless of the Osana delays. Alex believes that he may have swayed the poll by framing companies as greedy. With this line of thinking, in March, he decided to start working with the company, even though it only got 8% of the votes on the poll.
TinyBuild. You may recognize them as the publisher of Hello Neighbor and numerous other games. Eventually, we reached an agreement that I was happy with, and I decided to enter a partnership with them. Don't be worried. I'll retain full ownership of the Yandere Simulator intellectual property. I'll have full creative control over the game. I'll have the final say on all merchandising decisions. They can't exploit the product in any way that goes against my wishes, and no deadlines have been set in stone.
Yandere Dev believes this new partnership to be favorable, with some added benefits like being able to smooth over Twitch, untangling his spaghetti code with inefficient codebase, and primarily speeding up development. As Yandere Dev did with his video, TinyBuild announced this partnership on Twitter. The results were mixed. It was not that fans were displeased that Alex was working with TinyBuild, but that TinyBuild was associating with Alex. Some of the replies read, quote, "Hey at TinyBuild, I respect a lot of the work you do for the GDQ events and other indie devs, but this is probably a really bad idea. Fucking love it. The guy with 5,000 monthly needs another business to invest partially and still wants volunteer work. Have fun working with a redacted on his anime girl killing simulator." Unquote. The benefit of speed development could not happen soon enough. Now, April 2017, Osana was officially 5 months past its original deadline. Updates came mostly in the form of bug fixes and some additions that were mostly related towards visuals and polish. Mixed within these monthly updates was Yandere Dev emphasizing how other areas of the game desperately needed more attention than the first rival, but also showed some progress towards her completion. This was the case for June, July, August, September, and October. In this month came the first update, not related to Yandere Simulator per se, but to Watashi no Mono, a game inspired by Yandere Simulator. It looks like Alex was getting competition. Now, in November, it is the anniversary of what was meant to be Osana's release date.
I think it was a mistake to put so much emphasis on Osana. This created the impression that Osana was my one and only priority, which wasn't the case at all. I've made tons of changes and additions to the game over the past year, and it would be a shame if I'm judged solely on whether or not I'm making progress on Osana from week to week.
His framing of Osana moving the game forward was a mistake. The same could also be said about this recent stream of Alex playing the video game Cupheads.
What the fuck? What is
Things
happening?
were not adding up. This frustration, Alex addressing the decrease of the game's popularity as an equalization to the sudden jump it got, and the lack of progress despite the onboarding of a company. In 2016, the game was supposedly 45% complete, but at the start of 2018, it was still less than 50% complete. The explanation for this can be found on his Discord, where in February of 2018, Yandere Dev stated, quote, "In March 2017, I was ready to bring another programmer on board. After I made a YouTube video stating that I needed programming assistance, over 20 plus professional programmers contacted me and offered to help. At the same time, TinyBuild offered to get me the help I needed. So I told the 20 plus programmers, don't worry, I'll get the help I need from my new publisher, TinyBuild, and turned down their offers. Then I waited 8 plus months for TinyBuild to get me the help I needed. Things didn't work out, so now I'm back searching for programmer assistance. I'm currently having multiple very promising conversations with potential programming volunteers, but nothing is set in stone yet. In a timeline where I had never signed up with TinyBuild, I would have gotten other programmers on board about 1 year ago." Unquote. March, April, and May was more the same. Bug fixes after bug fixes with very few additions. And Yandere Dev was reluctant to talk about TinyBuild. In this screenshot, he stated, quote, "I have nothing to say about it at this point in time, but hopefully one day in the future I'll be able to say something." Unquote. There has always been tension with Alex and his audience. It has been stretched, but never strained as it was now. Between Osana, questions relating to TinyBuild, the emails, and the recycling of his most controversial moments, Alex was going to snap, and it was going to be soon.
Excellent. The latest build and video are finished uploading. Time to release them for the world to see. I hope that everybody likes the latest feature. I think I'll read the comments and see what people are saying.
Where's Osana? Why isn't Osana done yet? When will you work on Osana? Osana! Osana! Osana!
Oh, wow. We need to have a talk.
Alex was explaining again that he regrets putting so much emphasis on Osana. Now a year and 7 months past the initial deadline, the other important bits come in relation to TinyBuild. Those Discord screenshots where Yandere Dev talks about TinyBuild were limited to being exchanged to only those that would go beyond Alex's channel or blog to follow the development. But now in this video, he stated he was taking on all the major development roles.
Right now, I am juggling the responsibilities of being the game's director and producer in addition to being its only programmer. In a best-case scenario, someone else would take my place as the game's programmer so that I could work exclusively as the game's director and producer. If we raise enough money, maybe we could hire multiple programmers who would work on multiple rivals simultaneously so that future rivals are completed even faster.
And so came the question in mass, what happened to TinyBuild? Well, for this video, the comments were disabled, so no questions could be asked or answered there. In Yandere Dev's next video, uploaded just 2 days later on June 8th, he starts by explaining how the adding of features and how they interact with each other slows down the production of projects like this, otherwise known as feature creep.
As the complexity of a project increases, it will become proportionally difficult to work on. Every time you add a new feature, it will affect other features, create new bugs, increase the amount of time you need to spend waiting for the code to compile, increase the loading times of the game, etc. Something that was simple and easy to work on at the beginning can eventually become a nightmare that you are constantly wrestling with.
Still, no mention of TinyBuild that, as his general audience still understood it, was meant to be helping. The second half of the video is about quote-unquote weird people and pushing the release date to when it's ready.
If a group of weird people on the internet decide that they feel completely justified in treating you like garbage, and you're subjected to abusive treatment on a daily basis for multiple years, you'll become depressed, which will affect your productivity, which will cause people to call you lazy or a scam artist, which will cause you to receive even more abuse, which will cause you to become even more depressed and less productive, which becomes a never-ending cycle of abuse and depression. Your fan base won't know about this for a long time because you'll do your best to never speak of it. In the 2 years that have passed since then, I've gained much more knowledge, experience, and information that has helped me to form a new estimate for when I think the game will be completed. And that estimate is... when it's ready.
Games from popular studios receive backlash when delayed. It's the same for indie game studios, except backlash is lessened because more slack is given to smaller companies that have less experience and typically have a closer connection to their audience. So it was not that caused a ripple effect. It was actually everything. This video was just the catalyst. Starting with the starting of his opposition, who he deemed weird people that like his emails, blames for the lack of development. More and more, it looked like Yandere Dev was spreading the development of the game with things that are out of the control of the average viewer. Another mistake was not giving a face to these weird people. By glossing over this undefined group, they could be as bad as his most severe trolls or a fan that's criticizing the game. So this could have been construed as, if you're against Yandere Dev or criticize him, you are a weird person. Additionally, this was also a poor move because this attention towards his detractors no doubt emboldens him. This is all to say that this video had dire consequences. On the subreddit r/Yandere Simulator, which was known for being a mostly supported place for the game, turned into something else. Memes such as these became more common, stating that Yandere Dev is out of touch. The significance of this is that this image was contrasting with the one he had built with his updates. The calm and silly persona that was Yandere Dev on the curated videos on his channel was fighting with this new image. Some comments mimic his rhetoric, albeit more dramatically with, quote, "All my critics are edgy teenagers who slandered me with no proof," unquote. Then there were the endless screenshots of Yandere Dev on his Discord, dismissing even the typical fan asking a question. Quote, "At Yandere Dev, are you considering doing something to Musume's hair to make her fit in more with her group? Other girls in her group have colorful hair," unquote. Yandere Dev responds, quote, "It's my lowest possible priority right now. Who the fuck cares and why the fuck do people always bug me about this fucking shit? Just fuck off already," are the only thoughts that come to mind, unquote. Readers, now exposed to Yandere Dev's vitriolic nature, commented, quote, "Holy fuck, why would you snark at your own fans like that? It wasn't a complaint, it wasn't even a compliment, just a simple question. Fucking hell, Alex. Jesus Christ, he's digging his own grave right now. It hurts to see my former role model turn into something quite the opposite. Okay, he's just losing it now. At this pace, the game is going to go down faster than the Hindenburg," unquote. And so it was. Adjacent to these posts exposing Alex for his behavior, others responded to it by leaving the community and for the first time ever boycotting his Patreon. Though slow to start, the campaign against Yandere Dev was officially in motion. His dislike, controversial history, and current attitude against the beloved game that is Yandere Simulator were for the first time mixing to explosive effect. 2 days after the controversial video came a post explaining the ending of his partnership with TinyBuild that actually ended 7 months before this post, citing the fear of potentially violating an NDA as a reason he did not talk about it sooner. His explanation for the departure reads, quote, "The plan was for the programmer to refactor certain aspects of the code, but it proved to be impossible to refactor that code while I was still making changes and additions to the game. It wasn't the sort of situation where we could just work in separate branches and then merge our work. If the programmer entirely changed the nature of the script, then all the work I did in the meantime would be incompatible and would have to be tossed out. To avoid doing any wasted work, I'd have to stop updating the game for a period of several months while the code was being refactored," unquote. Yandere Dev goes on to explain that because he essentially tied the hands of the programmer and that at one point he made vague remarks about having difficulty working with the programmer caused the partnership to end. Additionally, he admits to removing any comments asking what happened to TinyBuild. Following this, he set his Patreon on 18+ mode, alongside disabling comments. The comments were also disabled on this post as he stated he was not ready to re-enable them. They were re-enabled, but only on his YouTube videos where there were suspiciously few and only in his favor. He was treading in the dangerous territory of mass censorship, even committing the sin of copyright striking videos on him. These strikes were regularly done on smaller channels, bringing the Streisand effect in full swing once word got out of his rapid copyright abuse coming from his channel that had surpassed 2 million subscribers. Then, in late June, Yandere Dev launched his subreddit r/Yandere Simulator, not to be confused with the independent, but recently campaigning against Yandere Dev r/Yandere_Simulator. As per the pinned post in his subreddit, he made it to, quote, be able to discuss the game in a civil environment that is free from hostility and drama, unquote. Immediately, he was set on banning those in this newly established subreddit in opposition to him. In July, this censorship not only persisted, but worsened. More YouTube copyright strikes were issued with channels with as few as 11 subscribers. This video specifically was one where he tells a user sold out to go end himself.
You're a fucking retard sold out. Go fucking kill yourself, dumb shit. You're a fucking idiot. When you're playing a story game, you gotta pay attention to the story, dumb shit. Eat shit and die, fuckhead.
As the opposition game approaches, support towards
What the
Yandere's close
fuck?
competition increased, like on Watashi no Mono. That's why in June, this screenshot surfaced of the alleged Yandere Dev messaging the developer of the game, Epic Meal Dev, to go die. Though this is thought to be faked and sent by an imitator of Alex, as Redditors questioned the legitimacy, showing how easy it would be to replicate this message as Yandere Dev. On Twitter, Kiwi Forums, Reddit, and YouTube, word was spreading on what kind of person Yandere Dev was, amplified by this video titled The Real Yandere Dev, released July 12, 2018, by creator Kapakaiju.
I was personally subscribed for more than 2 years. It was the only thing I knew him from. I didn't follow him on any other media. And in that time, I never had any reason to believe he wasn't the person he says he is. But that's only because he lies, manipulates the truth, deletes evidence, or anything he can just to make sure that people don't think bad of him.
Kapakaiju explicitly only covers his most recent controversial moments, only glancing over his history as a Zephon as a self-proclaimed incel. With that in mind, his video is 46 minutes long and covers his excessive censorship, his hatred and banning of memes, his disabling of mods, his persistent ranting about emails, his falling out with TinyBuild, the lack of Lusana, his poor coding habits, and most importantly, his hostility.
If you're a fan of his, just remember this. When someone criticizes him or his game, he doesn't distinguish between fan and foe. He will attack you with the same level of arrogance. He treats everything from an innocuous meme to death threats with the same kind of hostility.
This video ends with a call to action.
If you're still here and you've pledged to his Patreon, pull it. Boycott him. It's the only way he'll actually put in the time required to improve his level of work, to change the person he is. Because, to be honest, he doesn't care if people dislike him, he just wants the money.
It was in July of 2018 that for the first time since 2015, his Patreon dipped below $4,000 and did not recover. The movement against him was coalescing, and this was the outcome. As the dam was breaking, more and more videos of Yandere Dev were circulating. Not all negative, sometimes they were just strange moments, like this one where he moved around an image of Samus Aran.
Oh my god. Ooh. Ooh. What a nice view. Looking pretty good up there. Look at that. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Here, honey, come down. Come down and give your lover a kiss. That's a good girl. Where did I put it there? Oh god.
This, alongside other memes that were reshaping his
What
image
the
under normal
fuck?
circumstances, for a traditional game developer, this would not matter. In the case of Yandere Dev, it changes everything. Alex hates this because he treats this as pure mockery, banning anything that could be perceived as an attack on his character. This inadvertently makes it more entertaining, and it was no longer the fear that the game was becoming a quote-unquote meme game, it was a fear that he was now becoming a meme.
Back in 2015, when Yandere Simulator was first gaining popularity, I wanted to quickly destroy the notion that it was a meme game, and establish that I was trying to develop a genuine stealth game.
The types of games Alex is referring to are games that are often labeled derisively as YouTube bait, or as Alex labels them, meme games. These are games, such as Alex's, that have served premises such as Surgeon Simulator and Goat Simulator. They had periods where they were picked up by content creators and played because their nature allowed for easy commentary when placed in intentionally outlandish situations. In fact, one of the reasons he wanted to rename the game to Lovesick was to drop the simulator from the title. But now sights were set on him, and with the tides turning, what would be Yandere Dev's response to this changing of his image and the criticisms of the game?
Rapidly slapping everything together in a haphazard way might have allowed me to make frequent updates back in the beginning, but ultimately, it had negative long-term effects that have slowed down the game's development.
That was a video Yandere Dev released November of 2018, providing the reasons development has slowed. Here he regrets his spaghetti code that has been recently criticized, and is making an effort to improve the game based on criticism. Missing was the criticism directed towards him as a person. This was addressed in a different video also released in November, known infamously as it is titled Hate and Shame.
These embarrassing messages make up less than 1% of everything you've ever done or said over the course of your life, and none of those messages accurately represent who you really are. However, imagine that someone decides to take all of these embarrassing moments from your past, put them into a list, and show that list to his friends. Then he claims that this list represents you.
Yandere Dev's Hate and Shame video has a runtime of nearly 23 minutes. That was a near 30-second clip. However, that message is hammered in non-stop. He talks about how these gremlins, in place of trolls, critics, or liars, poke at him, and place him in the same place as other controversial creators like Christian or Darkside Hill. He states that he tries to reason with them, but that they also don't use facts or logic. Here, he is making the same error of not giving any specific examples. Again, repeating the message that those in opposition of him are unreasonable people that revel in his demise. Furthermore, he goes after creators who recently made videos on him, calling them tabloid pieces for a lowbrow audience.
Tabloids are widely considered to be trashy entertainment for a lowbrow audience. Unfortunately, there is a YouTube equivalent of tabloid magazines, channels that are dedicated to ridiculing and shaming other people. These YouTubers make money by degrading, debasing, and defaming others.
There is a massive conflict in the message he is trying to push. He states that these gremlins are dismissive, glosses over creators and others that ridicule him as if he completely understands them, as they exist in his mind as terrible people. Only for Yandere Dev to be doing that exact same thing. He is dismissive of these gremlins and creators and portrays their actions as hive mind. The only difference is he and the other controversial figures are the only identifiable people in the video, despite drawing himself as a teenage girl.
By now, you've probably realized who this video is really about. Tell me, what am I supposed to do in this situation?
The cherry on top is that he states that, like the emails, which were increasing in volume to troll him, are affecting his work. This rare video where Alex discusses himself on the Yandere Dev channel shows how little he has changed to his, by this point, decade-old forum posts. The difference now is he is emboldened by his success, unrelated to his flaws. Attached to this video was a poll. Two options were given related to the future content on his channel. One to make more videos expelling rumors but inviting drama, and the other to presumably ignore the drama and work on the game. 2/3 of the audience voted on the latter option. Alex, seeing this, made the decision to include himself in more drama. Now, late November, it was announced that Alex was going to be the new owner of r/Yandere_Simulator, meaning that he was going to own that alongside his established r/Yandere Simulator Reddit. One of the owners posted that they transferred the subreddit to Alex after a 2/3 vote, and most importantly, they gave the subreddit to Alex, quote, in exchange for compensation based on how the community had grown under us, unquote. Almost immediately, there was a new post on the subreddit by Alex himself, titled Under New Management, explaining how he believes the subreddit became infested with trolls due to a rogue administrator. Alex goes on to frame the other administrators as regretful of their creation, citing this, not the pre-established compensation via one of the administrators, as the reason they handed it over to Alex. Alex going as far to quote him saying, quote, it's become anxiety-inducing to even look at it. Honestly, we just want it off our hands. We're letting it sit and rot, unquote. The gist is that he was shutting down posts disproving of him. Later came this video of the alleged Yandere Dev messaging.
So he got control of a subreddit where people were able to criticize him so that they wouldn't be able to do it again. That's great. Oh my god, imagine eating that. Imagine feeling like you need to have that much power that you take control of a fucking subreddit.
What is believed to be one of the ex-administrators of the subreddit, showing that at one point he was willing to pay $10,000, but in the end $3,000 was settled on the purchase of the subreddit. Part of this campaign was a newly added bug page on his blog. As updates slowed to an update video once a month, if even that, the recent drama had closed out in 2018. Osana has now been delayed 2 years and 1 month past the original deadline, and no Kickstarter campaign or basically any way to progress the game was in sight. Videos on Yandere Dev were gaining popularity, and Yandere Dev's Patreon continued to suffer, threatening to dip under $3,000 a month. The first update video of 2019 was lackluster. Yandere Dev addressed that in his video.
I do think that the insight I gained from each of these experiences was incredibly valuable, but I still feel as though I'm coming to you empty-handed, which is an awful feeling.
Adding salt to the wound was this alleged former volunteer's leaked Discord messages, explaining to someone that, quote, his lack of progress has to do with his lack of volunteers recently. He has finally resulted to doing work himself, and now no progress has been made. He spent the last month using his 12-hour daily schedule, canceling ideas and coming up with new ones, unquote. If there is a correlation between the amount of people willing to volunteer to his Patreon earnings, then that number would have fallen severely. 2019 was a different year than 2018 because it was rather uneventful. Not to say it was entirely devoid of drama. What it was devoid of was implementation of Osana. Month after month, though still providing video updates and additions to the game, the momentum was lost. Interest in the game had hit an all-time low. His average monthly Patreon slumped to hovering around $2,500 a month, nearly half of what it was a year ago. And at the end of 2019, it was at its lowest point thus far. The start of 2020 marked Osana delayed 3 years and 1 month past the original deadline. This time, something was different. Alex did what he hasn't done in a long time. He set up anticipation for the release of Osana in his first post of 2020, stating that she is, quote, functionally complete, unquote, saying he is on the last hurdle. Osana, when released, will change the game state from being a debug sandbox to a functional demo. Attention, though, was elsewhere, focused on a rather unexpected community-driven pastime.
It's time to speedrun. See how quickly I can get banned. 2, 1, go. Upload.
Oh my god.
That was in June 2018 banned speedrun a Yandere Dev's Discord server, set at 6 seconds. And so this was the former world record holder. Beating the former world record champion was trendsetter Manoka. As the Yandere Dev server evolved, it basically reinvented itself and turned into a different server and challenge. This pastime, while present throughout the past few years, picked up in stride in January 2020. That speedrun, posted January 19th, 2020, was 7.58 seconds. Impressive and also inspiring to others. As shown, the runner, as did the former world record holder, made the decision to post a short video. This is eye-catching and saves the time needed to both type and have a moderator read a message and then apply the ban. As Yandere Dev's images from Gaia Online were in circulation and easily recognizable, these were found to be optimal. Still, there was much room for improvement. This was beaten on the same day by nearly 2 seconds at 5.93 seconds. The runner saved time by using the keyboard commands to post the image. Following this feat was a feat even grander than the last. Using keyboard commands, an optimal eye-catching picture, and precision, the record was beaten by exactly 2 seconds at 3.93 seconds. This was the number to beat, and many tried, but only succeeded in spreading the word massively on the ongoing speedruns. As word of the spread, so did memes of Yandere Dev that were used in the speedruns like the "Are You Coding Son" meme, that utilized the 3 pictures that accompany one of his infamous Gaia posts with minor editing. In the meme, his father enters and asks, "Are you coding, son?" Where Yandere Dev replies, "Sure am, Dad." When left alone, Yandere Dev then winks at his audience, implying no work is being done. Interest in Yandere Dev increased, similar to his blow-up in 2015. The difference now was that new people were exposed to him, now knowing first of the memes and secondhand the game. So for the first time ever was he true and growing interest in his character and infamy. It seems this was only an inevitability sprung by chance from the ongoing speedruns. Still, the 19th, new measures were taken to impede the bombardment of new members joining in to disrupt the server with memes. Now to chat, one had to have a paid subscription to his Twitch channel. The following day, this was amended to accept those who donated Discord Nitro. Runners did not want to donate money, so they found a way to circumvent these restrictions. By naming one's Discord to "Are You Coding, Son" or variants of his memes, his user roster will be full of derisive or eye-catching remarks against Yandere Dev. As these users were banned, the speedruns and world record evolved. Runner Flonsquab not only used an eye-catching image as their profile picture and a meme for their name, they added an exclamation mark in front of their name. That way they'll be moved to the top of the Discord user roster and banned quicker. The result was a world record beaten again, this time by 2 seconds, set at 1.41 seconds. As this new method caught on, new measures again were put in place.
Okay, so this is gonna be my personal attempt to getting banned really fast. Alright, so it started. And did I just get banned? Wait.
Posted January 26, 2020 by Runner Skirk 3 was a world record of 0 seconds. This feat earned 4.5 million views. By using former strategies such as an eye-catching profile picture and choosing the name,
Let's go. The cum chalice. No! Dude!
the runner was banned in an instant, presumably by a bot or a very active moderator looking for keywords in one's name. Speedruns still persisted, but with this world record claimed, the race was over. This arc captured by several videos and compilations, including a 193 video playlist on YouTube where 61 of the videos are unavailable. There were also videos recounting these events, like Bockinson's 3-part series a la the popular stream run documentary channel Summoning Salt. Though these speedruns may have lost momentum, the memes did not, and only picked up in February. One of particular note was the cum chalice. as users found the original video of Alex toasting a glass of milk only to be struck down by copyright. So they began dubbing the audio.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial.
Some audio was surprisingly well-fitting. Twitter was also playing its role. Consume the cum chalice, which variants like consume the coom or coom chalice became the universally understood references of Alex's milk toasting video. There was a rapid evolution in his memification, a process that was not affecting Alex positively. Taking into account his deep desire to be taken seriously as both a developer and a person, this is the exact opposite of what he wanted. As a response to this, on January 20, 2020, in the height of speedruns, Alex tweeted, quote, "Thought experiment. Imagine that someone successfully convinces the entire world that you deserve to be treated like shit. As a result, you are harassed by dozens of people every hour of the day for several years with no end in sight. When will you decide to commit? Redacted." Unquote. 13 hours later, he was seen telling one of the speedrunners that, quote, "Anyway, you haven't worth their value and the world would be better without you." Unquote. On YouTube, he was still copyright striking critical videos, and on his blog, in February, he stated vaguely that, quote, "The past 2 weeks were dominated by problems going on in my personal life, and as a result, I wasn't able to work on the game as much as I wanted to." Unquote. Then there was another blog post mid-February on Valentine's Day in the same vein. Quote, "I plan to release Osana on February 14th, Valentine's Day. Today is the day that Osana was going to be released, but it's not happening. Over the past 25 days, I've been subjected to the largest avalanche of hate and harassment that I've ever experienced. It's impossible to be productive under these circumstances." Unquote. The lack of progress combined with the ongoing evolution of memes, his expressiveness of his dissatisfaction contrasted by his own toxicity, and now a collaboration with Project QT involving 2 characters of Yandere Simulator in its sexually explicit game brought on more negative attention.
Yandere-chan and Info-chan are now playable characters in a game called Project QT. In case you haven't heard of it, Project QT is a gacha game with turn-based combat. It's also an 18+ game for...
Did he waste time on this stupid fucking shit? I love how he's all like, the only reason I can't fucking do anything in my game is because of you guys harassing me in my emails and shit like that. Yet you're wasting time with this shit.
For adults only.
As Alex was doing as a solution around the panty shot mechanic and other perverse themes that were criticized for involving minors, he was changing only the canon of the game so that characters were 18+, but not modifying the high school outfits nor the setting. Alexander had long been pulled in every direction by his want to appease different portions of his user base and his own desires. This change, because it was a middle ground, brewed discontent. Challenging other areas of the game was Osana and r/Osana. This appears to be created as a result of Alex's purchasing of r/Yandere_simulator. This exodus was joined by those also seeking to speak on the game freely. In 2019, it was combined with another subreddit known similarly as Where's Osana, and now in 2020, the ranks swelled. On YouTube, Kapakaiju made a second video on Yandere Dev titled, "Yandere Dev is never going to finish Yandere Simulator." In an hour and 49 minutes, as opposed to his prior video, Kapakaiju examines Yandere Simulator as a game and its mechanics rather than its code, criticizing its feature creep. The game, even with the goal of Osana, felt pointless, and a product too reflective of Alex's personal interests.
This bridges me to my next critic, being, what the fuck is all of this?
The heavy inclusion of the in-world anime that Alex wrote to be similar to Evangelion, or the town he was developing. All this emphasizing how directionless Alex was, especially when put alongside other successful indie games. That and recent controversies like his hate and shame video that caused a massive dip in his Patreons, retconning the ages of the characters despite their depiction of being high school students remaining, made worse with their previous canonical age. With all this and more, Kapakaiju roughly estimates that the game is not even close to being done. This was significantly lower than Alex's own estimation that in 2018 was a vague less than 50% complete. What was meant to be the year Osana launched was turning into the year the game was pronounced dead. From speedruns to countless YouTube videos, and even games creating entertainment where Yandere Simulator lacked progress. On the non-game side, his accounts were getting hacked. His Discord continued to be raided, and his patrons were dropping. In July of 2020, he was getting only $1,600 a month. Obsessively, Alex was trying to plug up as many of these holes as he could, not realizing it was that was sinking his ship. A good example of this is how he handled Lovesick. Like Watashi no Mono, it is a Yandere Simulator-esque game, except this one is very much on the nose in terms of emulation. According to the description of the trailer, quote, "It's a revamped, reimagined version of Yandere Simulator to improve on the original game's concept and ideas. This game takes on the role of an actual Yandere, not an emotionally murdering schoolgirl, although you still have the ability to murder anyone, which is up to you." Unquote. With this, uploaded July 4th was a cause for dual celebration. Its trailer came at a perfect time where hatred towards Yandere Dev fueled attention to this possible alternative. Alex felt that he needed to act, so he messaged Dr. Apius on Discord. This one is the most important and reads, quote, "If the cost of Yandere Simulator was ending a person's life, I'd cancel development." Unquote. Dr. Apius looked to have incurred Alex's typical lambasting. Alongside a copyright strike from one of Alex's associates, Alex contacted Dr. Apius, stating his creation was a direct attack towards Alex's mental health. With foresight, Lovesick, later renamed Love Letter, would actually go nowhere due to its own controversy sparked by its creator. As for right now, the messages Yandere Dev sent Dr. Apius were the most prominent. What Alex likely didn't know is that Dr. Apius was in contact with the dev of Watashi no Mono, Epic Meal Dev, and received screenshots of Alex attempting to guilt Epic Meal Dev into stopping development as well, though he was using his financial backers instead. Quote, "What I do know is that people feel justified in attacking me or lose faith in me or withdraw financial support because they believe that WNM is proof that I could be doing my job faster." Unquote. These were dated early 2019, only to be leaked now by Dr. Apius. As a direct response to him stating that Dr. Apius' lovesick was threatening his life, readers took to Twitter with hashtag #RipYandereDev. Shared amongst these posts were more memes of Yandere Dev, even some where he robs a gas station. Some using deepfake technology, as was being seen widely with the images from Gaia. There was even a deepfake video that simulates what it would be like to go on a date with Yandere Dev at a Pizza Hut.
So basically, in this game, you play as a Yandere. It's a Japanese term.
This was a peak of interest in Yandere Dev. That still only matches the lowest point of interest in Yandere Simulator. There was one way that he theoretically could turn this around. A glint of hope. Could the release of Osana save the game and draw in more supporters and attention away from Alex? On August 1st, he stated that she was complete. He just needed to polish her. This was not good news, and Osana still has not been released, now 3 years and 9 months past the original deadline. Mid-August came with another post confirming her completion with the necessary polish. And then the date no one thought would come arrived.
Hi, Osana is complete. Yandere Simulator's first official demo is now available.
On August 31st, Osana was in the game, and the game became a functioning demo. In his video announcing this, Yandere Dev explains Osana's extreme delays were due to waiting for volunteers to complete her animations, and that other aspects of the game needed development to allow Osana to be fleshed out. With that in mind, Alex made a new goal of sorts.
At this point, it would be quite reasonable for you to ask, will the other rivals take as much time to create as Osana did? And the answer is no. The reason why it took 6 months to implement Osana is because I had to create the systems that were necessary for the game to support the presence of a special student that everything else would revolve around. Now that all of those systems are in place, dropping new rivals into the game will be much easier and faster. The most time-consuming part will be waiting for volunteers to create the animations and models necessary to give each rival a unique set of events. After hearing that, you might be wondering, how close is Yandere Simulator to completion? In my opinion, Yandere Simulator is 90% gameplay mechanics and 10% story elements. 100% of the gameplay mechanics are now functional, but only 10% of the story elements are in the game. So you could say that the game is currently 91% complete.
The game, by Yandere Dev's estimation, is 91% complete. In late 2016, it was 45% complete, and so this last 9% should not be a problem. There was the added circumstance that development would be sped up with more donations, and with Osana complete, there would have to be a bump in supporters. This heavily anticipated feature has to have done something, and it did. It bumped Alex's Patreon to just shy of $2,000 by the start of September, and that was it. Interest in the game barely moved upwards. The lack of interest could not be overcome. With all the things that happened in 2020, the lukewarm response of Osana was by far the worst, and it is when Yandere Simulator truly fell apart. Game-wise, Yandere Dev wanted her to be the least difficult of all the 10 rivals, yet he expressed much difficulty in developing an entry-level obstacle that came in the form of her friend/bodyguard. Eliminating Osana in most cases requires the removal of Osana's friend, which overall is not an easy or quick feat, meaning that he would have to outdo himself continuously with the following rivals if this was meant to be the easy one. The support for the game was dying, and it was no surprise. The months following had more volunteers leave and moderators removed from his Discord for their predatory behavior. What stung the community was the sheer amount of instances that the moderator, Joel the Creeper, as he named himself, was not shy with his interest that went all unchallenged until recently. The 7-year mark was coming up. In this post, now March of 2021, Alex was expressing not just his typical burnout, but a want to jump ship. Quote, 7 years is way longer than I ever expected to work on Yandere Simulator, and I would really love to work on other projects. However, there is a very obvious reason why that's not an option. Backlash. Unquote. Recalling a video from June 2018, Alex provided a list of several indie games that took upwards of 5 years to be complete, with the exception of one. Knowing where he was demotivating. Being at such a low point demands examination of oneself. Alex previously did not want to adjust the way he behaved because he received support regardless. Now, with everything being stripped away, he knew he had to change or revert to the life he was living prior to Yandere Simulator.
Because Yandere Simulator's future is entirely dependent on whether or not people trust me and feel comfortable supporting me, I think that my current goal should be to restore people's faith in me. There are a lot of things I'll need to do in order to accomplish that, but one of the things I'd like to do first is to demonstrate my ability to put 10 rivals into the game in a timely fashion.
A month later in this blog, he stated, quote, the next build of the game will have 10 rivals, unquote. In August, he stated 9 out of the 10 rivals were complete.
What if I just create a new set of rivals? Rivals who exist purely to allow players to test the 10-week system.
His solution for the implementation of the rivals was not for the remaining rivals, but was for what he called 1980s mode, a mode where you can play as the protagonist mother in the 1980s, eliminating simplified versions of rivals in place of the complex ones that the main game will have. While this did fulfill a promise to include rivals, it was not the ones that people were expecting, the ones for the version of the game people were accustomed to, and so interest, patrons, everything stagnated. The following year was even less eventful. There were monthly updates to his blog and community posts on YouTube, but no new rivals. No new videos on his main channel, an entire year without meaningful progress. Then, at the end of the year, uploaded a single 3-minute video to his main channel, opening with a satirical imitation to addressing his disappearance.
Join us for this 2-hour documentary as we investigate the mysterious and unexplained disappearance of Yandere Dev.
Hey, whoa, hey, wait a minute, what the heck? I didn't disappear. I've been here the whole time. I've been active. I've been posting updates. Okay, maybe I should, start from the beginning.
Yandere Dev explains that his departure from YouTube was because he was turning to butt fixes, optimizing his time by not creating videos until he made significant progress. There was one more video uploaded shortly after, a yearly Christmas carol written in the theme of Yandere Simulator. Then, nothing. The start of 2023 was the last time his Patreon went over $2,000. Volunteers were not coming in. Where in the past, he would pay exceptional volunteers as a reward for their work, that was no longer the case. Besides renovating his room and a focus on bug-fixing 1980s mode, there was nothing substantial. There were short videos uploaded to his archive channel, but not much word on significant development. Even his blog had turned its mandatory monthly updates to cater to community interaction, that and bug fixes. The game was dead. Since 2022, Yandere Simulator had no functional plans for an official Kickstarter. There were no hints at the mechanics of upcoming rivals, nothing but bug fixes. The death of the game was something Alex long feared. Now, in 2023, he was not melting down or creating controversy. He was surprisingly adapting well to both his fall from grace and the persistence of detractors. This was possibly his most difficult challenge, tackled by doubling down and focusing on his fans. And maybe this was the best way the story could end. Not one where his game's finished, but one of change. Going from an angry, purposeless individual to one that is able to reflect and grow from their mistakes. Learning not to interact in kind to those that seek his downfall. To learn from one's mistakes and become something functional. This is proven by Google Trends that show Yandere Dev was sunk into its lowest possible interest since his adaptation of the name in 2014. Then suddenly, a spike in interest. A peak surpassed by only his most tumultuous month. A wound was not reopened, but thrashed, originating from the blade wielded by Sisef's accusations. These new set of scars will be slow to heal, if at all. The tragedy is that this was expected. Alex, while not too vocal at the moment, was still a shut-in without many social experiences, especially the one he desired. He was still an incel, and while many are harmless, Alex was the exception.
Now 21, Ryan still identifies as an incel, but is trying to move away from a community that he calls toxic.
The majority opinion is kind of disgusting. I see the most foul shit of my life every day. The pedophilia. It's quite rampant. They can't get a girlfriend, so they're resorting to whatever women they can find.
That was from a short documentary by SBS The Feed. As incels have become more prominent, interest has increased in covering and understanding them. And not just them, but also their victims.
I and a lot of the other younger girls and boys in these communities were effectively groomed by the older people around us.
Lani was 14 when she joined the incel community, but by 16, she wanted nothing to do with it.
There were a lot of older men weaseling their way into your close circle and getting you to open up, even get us to lie about our ages, and their only goal with me was to acquire some kind of relationship or sexual encounter. They go for younger women because they're typically more vulnerable.
That was from the same video, and is to show cases of desperate men approaching children or teens are common, as Alex was going to prove.
Okay, he acknowledges that she's underage. I have one more clip that proves that he knew that she was underage.
That was a snippet of a TikTok posted September 20th, 2023, which was getting a fair amount of traction because of the soundbites of Yandere Dev talking to a minor, and then some. The creator of the TikTok was a friend of the victim, and that's how they got the soundbites. Additionally, they are promoting a video, not of theirs, but of a YouTube channel that is supposedly putting off the conversation. As it so happened, the creator of this video was in the comment section and stated, quote, "For those asking, I'm the one posting the full video. You'll find my YouTube channel under the name Ali McSee. Thank you, Bug, for helping spread awareness," unquote. There was quite a bit of skepticism, of course. The top comment was even proclaiming that this was AI. Ironically, this was the only part that was straightforward. This conversation did happen. Everything else becomes a jumbled mess of changing intents and claims from all directions, asking for the situation to be dropped. To start, this victim, just one day after
This is the situation that I covered on my old channel. Obviously the video's not there anymore and I don't have it at all anymore, so I can't repost it or anything. But like, this shit was insane because there were just so many different things coming out that like we didn't know what to do. Like, we didn't even know if we should cover it at one point, because I remember the victim had said that she didn't want that video uploaded in the first place, like the video that Ali wanted to make. She had said that she didn't want it uploaded, so.
After the TikTok was on Reddit asking for the situation to be dropped, stating in her post that, quote, "He wasn't trying to groom me, and recording his calls with me was very, very illegal in my state. I've spoken to him about court, lawyers, and everything. At this moment, he is not taking legal action against me and is not actively threatening me. He would have every right to take me to court if the videos were published, so please just drop it," unquote. The center of wanting this to go away is the threat of litigation. Though she states Alex is not actively threatening litigation, the subtext that he was, and it was creating its own controversy in Yandere Dev trying to hide this evidence on a technicality. With that in mind, the creator of the video that the victim enlisted was still going forward with it, but it was delayed due to a rendering error. Now the thought was this video going to be released? To challenge that, on Reddit, the victim created a lengthy post verifying herself with a 6-second audio clip. The crux of the Reddit post is, quote, "I decided the whole thing was blowing up in a really stupid way and told everyone involved that I didn't want them to use my illegally taken recordings to make a video anymore. Ali really wants to release a video, though she keeps manipulating me into thinking that I am a grooming victim. Even after I revoked my consent and told her to stop multiple times, she still plans to release the video," unquote. Jelly, as she identified herself, states that people have identified her, possibly from her friend's TikTok at school, and calls Ali McSee the one who is going to make the video with the full Discord call manipulative. Not only that, she also posts screenshots of a conversation through Discord with Ali, showing her continued request for the video not to be made, and Ali only trying to convince her otherwise. These screenshots also left Jelly's Discord name uncensored as Agent Jelly E Squish. So now, beyond the voice clip calling herself Jelly, readers could find any accounts that shared that very specific name. It did not take long for people to find her account, mostly because she was very open about who she was, and despite wanting the situation to go away, would discuss it at every opportunity. In here, she states that she is no longer friends with the person that posted the TikTok video. Discussion then turned to asking why she recorded the conversation at all, where she states that she was recording him to make a soundboard of his noises. These conversations were endless. Here, she also revealed that there are Snapchat conversations. The most important screenshot is this, confirming that her pulling out of wanting this exposed is her decision alone. There is no coercion, as she confirmed. Despite her best efforts, Ali McSee finally posted the new allegations and evidence against Yandere Dev on September 24, 2023.
Back in July of this year, I was contacted by a 16-year-old girl and fan of the game Yandere Simulator, who I will be referring to as Jane, and she alleged that she was actively being groomed and sexually abused throughout the summer by Yandere Dev, also known as Alex, creator of Yandere Simulator, and she was reaching out to me to help get her story and gathered evidence out to the public while keeping herself anonymous.
As teased, the full conversations were very damning.
There's this one really important thing to remember, and that's that all the money I get is donations from people who want to support me. And if I start working less, then they will think, oh, he's not working, he's lazy, I should not support this guy. Okay, let's just hypothetically imagine I have an OnlyFans. Now, what do I post on the OnlyFans? I mean, like, just naked pictures of me? I don't think I'm good looking enough for anyone to want to subscribe to my OnlyFans. When you turn 18, are you going to start an OnlyFans? Well, how can you recommend that someone else do it if you wouldn't even be able to do it yourself? Yeah, you're very skinny and that's kind of hot. Sorry, am I a bad guy for saying that? Should I go die?
God. You know, this is the shit that we had to fucking, like, read out because we couldn't find a lot of this stuff, and I didn't want to use Ali's video because of the fact that the alleged victim had come out and said they didn't want Ali to support that, so, like, to release that video. So, like, we didn't use Ali's video, so we had to, like, go find what he said and read it, and it was just so fucking hard to read.
Am I a bad guy?
And I can see where they got the idea from, but with context, it's not.
Yep, that's my wife right there.
Wait, hold on, did you ever answer that question? I asked you if you were a virgin.
Yeah, then my phone rang. Very conveniently, I had to go flee to answer the phone call. Here's a question for you. What makes you think it's possible that I'm a virgin?
You asked me that, and I gave an answer. What was it?
You're like, maybe you were shy in college, and you haven't had any time to meet people because of Yandere.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm a virgin, does that make me a pathetic loser?
Why would it make you a pathetic loser?
It's like, oh, this guy has no riz. He can't get any girl to sleep with him. Pathetic.
Oh my god. How old is this guy? Hold on. Yandere Dev. How old is he? Age. He's 36. This shit came out last year. Or this year. No, it came out the end of last year. Oh, that's disgusting.
Maidenless. No bitches.
Like, I'm half of you are, half of you you're not. Because, like, if you're not, then, like, good for you, yes. But if you are, like,
You want to steal my first time? Well, I'm not very experienced with ladies.
Because everyone gets so mad about kids. Because, like, you can't sexualize minors. I mean, you can't disagree with that without sounding like a creep. There's nothing I can really say about that.
Mother Nature sexualizes minors. Puberty starts to give breasts and wide hips to children before they turn 18.
I'm unable to do this weekly challenge. It's sad. It is so hard.
What's the weekly challenge? Don't wait.
Oh my god.
Conversations in this video also include topics of a lot of talk of genitalia, denying the existence of
So
incest, and in these
gross.
Snapchat conversations led to two going back and forth, trying to establish the definition of grooming. What starts as Alex saying he has no room for time for a relationship, seeming that he's pulling away from her, only to state, quote, so really the only thing for me to get out of this are lewd pictures and videos to fap to, unquote. Confirming he was soliciting photos and doubling down on keeping it secret. Though the only photo he allegedly got was a photo of her abs. The next set of Snapchat conversations take place right after Alex is made aware that he is being recorded on Discord, and as such is panicked. It starts with Alex begging her not to release the rest of the audio, then later attempts to sway her to say it was all AI or faked in some way. Then he states that Jelly traumatized her, to which Jelly responds, quote, I'm 16, you're 35, unquote. From this video, it is clear cut that Alex solicited images from a minor, had various conversations that were also sexual, and because of his regretful and secretive nature, knew this to be inappropriate. He was guilty of these conversations with Jelly, something he did with the added pressure of the standing accusations from syseps. Other accusations of a similar nature, and knowledge that recently, virtually every interaction with him is archived. He responded to this coming out in his blog with a post titled, I'm sorry. He starts it off by stating that he was battling against framing the conversation as dishonest or lacking context, but has taken the route of wanting to assume responsibility. He confirms he knew Jelly was 16 right off the bat, and that his actions were not okay. Further in, he attempts to claim that his remarks were not exactly showing sexual interest. Yet one of Jelly's friends, the TikToker, quote, interpreted my remarks as showing sexual interest in her. They convinced her that I was trying to groom her, and that she should release all the recordings to expose me, unquote. As a counter to this is a Snapchat screenshot of Alex soliciting images. He is not being honest, or at least not addressing all the evidence in this blog, which created more tension. The rest of the blog recounts what has happened up to this point. While feeling regretful in his decisions, he also provided screenshots to his donation to RAIN, a non-profit organization related to what has recently come out about him. Additionally being shared was presumably private Discord messages of Alex explaining what happened in a less formal way, but attention from that was swept away to a tweet. On September 25th, Allie's video with the conversation was taken down by someone using Jelly's real name. Allie, not wanting to believe it, shared her doubts, despite Jelly's established position against the video. It did not help that Alex had a history of taking down videos he did not agree with. Overall, an ineffective takedown because wanting to hide this evidence caused countless re-uploads of the video, and the evidence was still spreading. And then Allie on Reddit states that it wasn't Jelly at all. Quote, the victim did not file this claim herself. According to her directly, it was done on behalf of Alex and Cameron in her name, unquote. Alex is Yandere Dev. But who is Cameron? Cameron F305, or simply just Cameron, is lead composer and production assistant of Yandere Simulator. He was a friend of Alex, and has created videos in the past discussing the controversy around Yandere Dev that some disregard because of his friendship with Alex. On the 26th of September, Jelly asked Cameron if he could borrow his platform by a live stream on his channel. Cameron, openly displeased at Yandere Dev due to his recent controversy, obliged. And though the live stream was immediately taken down, there does exist archives like this one. The stream opens with her stating that she emailed Alex at the age of 9 after becoming a fan of the game, though her recent and charged correspondences only date back to around May of 2023. Again, stating that she was recording Alex for the sake of getting peculiar soundbites, stating that Alex is not a predator, and that she definitively copyright struck the video.
Yes, I did copyright strike the video because they were my recordings that I took, so I have full legal right to do that.
Did he force you to lie? Like, a lot of people keep asking that.
No, he didn't force me to lie. You can't force me to do anything. He lives across the country, and he's not that scary.
Throughout the stream, she is adamant that the copyright claim and her other claims are done because she wanted it so.
Why did you want to do this stream?
To clear things up, a lot of people believe that I'm being manipulated, so I wanted to be in a space without Yandere Dev so that they wouldn't be able to accuse him of manipulating me, responding to things in live time.
Again, reaffirming that she is the one that struck the video.
Sorry, late AF. You claim you striked Allie's video from what I heard, but Allie claims you came forward and said you didn't strike it yourself. I'm very confused. Are one of you lying?
I would love to see where I came forward about that, because no, it was absolutely me. I struck those videos.
From that line alone, we can establish someone is lying. It is either Allie or Jelly. As the stream went on, Jelly proved to be more and more unreliable.
Can you possibly release any and all evidence that you have that can back up what you were saying if majority of what the video was edited, clipped, etc.?
Okay, I'm so sorry for this, and this is about to show my super bad priorities, but I deleted all of the original things when I asked Allie to delete her video because I just expected it all to be over and done with, and I needed to make some storage for Minecraft to run smoother with mods.
Is there anything that we can do to make things easier for you? What would bring you better peace?
For everyone to shut up about it. That would really help.
Why do you say that? I'm gonna pry. Why do you say that?
It would be so peaceful if everyone were quiet.
So far, two things were established from the stream: fact and intent. The fact that Jelly did not copyright strike the video, clearing the responsibility from Alex or Cameron. The intent is that she wants for all this to die down. Yet also she gives her first name in the stream, and also the state that she lives in. One last item is that during the stream, the voice actress, Rayano, tweeted that she is suspending participation. Everyone, including Cameron, was distancing themselves from Alex. Except for Jelly, because she could still be seen in Yandere Dev's Discord server, with a slightly altered name. The alteration made with the intent of getting attention as she renamed herself Jelly Squish, DM about drama. Quote, yes, I'm Yandere Dev's victim. Feel free to ask about it. Unquote. She was openly still part of the server against her established intent. There were cracks starting to show that would soon become ravines. Users now having access to her Discord, her username, her real name, all forms of verifying information, found a suspicious history of someone of the same online alias posting 4chan. Like one of her stating she already turned 18. Another post is of her again stating she is 18, restating her state that she lives in, and other identifying information. Screenshots also tell of a quote-unquote e-brothel. Within was a now down Google Drive where files contents are gone but archived. The photos that are presentable are extremely disturbing. Though some of these screenshots have been censored, her face was not. To protect her identity, her face will be censored. Within this archive are several photos of what is presumed to be her room. Trash strewn everywhere. There are also various pictures of her in Discord calls with different individuals, with the other party on the call right about to expose themselves. These, because of their nature, will also not be shown. All throughout was her username in the Discord calls Jelly Swish, and the most identifying bit, of course, being her face and voice. The most strange, on her behalf, was this. Jelly's honeypot rules, heart symbol. The definition of a honeypot varies. As it is being used here, it is likely defined under the context of something that is using themselves, or using something else as bait as a means to an end. There are 7 rules in the screenshot. Don't dox him if you DM him first. No leaking. No romantic promises. Keep your clothes on. Make sure he's sober, one at a time. Don't dox if he's loyal to you. There are 3 rules that stand out. The first is keep your clothes on, as it opens with, quote, sending nudes is still illegal, unquote. This supports the idea that she is in fact underage. Next is one at a time. Quote, multiple men at once can be overwhelming, but also just inconsiderate. You're already sending him to jail, have the decency and compassion to be loyal at least, unquote. In her conversation with Cameron, there are moments that allude to these rules being practiced. Final rule, don't dox if he's loyal to you. Quote, if he's loyal to you, he loves you. You've gone too far and any more will traumatize him. Abandon your plan. You have a new boyfriend, not a new victim, unquote. The intention could be purely satirical as Jelly claims. And while demonstrating Jelly's character, it still did not change what Alex did. But because Jelly was in the forefront and made future developments difficult to follow or verify. By the end of September, there were even more developments. The person going as Sesevs came back to her blog to comment, without substantive evidence, my voice only reached so far. But finally, thanks to this girl coming forward, people are abandoning his project and leaving him to dry, like he deserves. It's a small justice. Really, he should be in prison, unquote. Jelly, through her own volition, or the influence of Ali and other creators, had a change of heart. She had Ali's video reinstated. Ali showing a screenshot of Jelly saying, quote, no, it needs to be up, unquote. She had also been in communication with a TikToker known as Decepticami, where they related that Jelly was enlisted in helping Alex write an apology. I also reached out to Decepticami, where he verifies that Jelly informed him that the honeypot rules were real, but claims that Jelly told him that they were made as satire due to her established chats with older men. Quote, so Jane claims that this was from an old server she was in. She was accused very often of being a honeypot, likely due to frequent attempts to gain attention from older men. This isn't a dig, just the nature of victims. Jane alleges that this made her write these rules as a joke. She wanted it to be a joke, a satire. She claims that she never thought it would ever be taken seriously because of how ridiculous and over the top it is, unquote. Also floating around, but more difficult to verify, was images of a driver's license or other items showing that she could possibly be 18. Though these, even if they were real, did not matter in the general conversation because Yandere Dev was still talking to who he thought was a minor. The larger conversation at hand was on the switching of intents and difficulty verifying information. On a video discussing Alex's new blog post, Alex announces he is pausing development on the game, likely due to people pulling out en masse. This comment was found below from Jelly. Quote, hey, I wanted to clarify something. I didn't make the copyright strike or the Reddit post. Cameron did it for me after Alex told me to retract my statements. Cam didn't know that I was being manipulated behind the scenes, so I don't blame him at all, unquote. In the span of about 2 weeks, Jelly went from supporting the video, wanting the video to not be uploaded, verified that she was not coerced, and that the strike was purely her intention, had a change of heart, had the video reinstated, and stated she did not make a copyright strike, and now...
This is why we were so confused whenever we made our videos on it, because we were like, what is happening? Because, like, this girl kept on changing her fucking mind. And I was like, okay, I get it. You had a meaningful relationship with this guy. But, like... Please be so for real right now. You don't have to lie for him. Especially given she's the one who said he's across the country and he's not that scary or something like that. Like, what the fuck?
Now, not even the Reddit post, making this all very difficult to follow. As a contrast, how the fallout was affecting Yandere Dev was very straightforward. He announced that he was going to be making a Guilded server. Quote, instead of creating this community on Discord, we created a server on the platform Guilded. If you want to participate in the new adults-only community, you'll have to create a Guilded account and then use this link to submit an application, unquote. Though previously he stated that he was pausing development, this post showed intent to continue development very soon. It was difficult to know what that means, considering his Patreon had fallen to just shy of $1,000 a month following a mass exodus of support. Living in California and developing this game for some minimum wage could not be feasible. The game more and more seemed like it would never be complete. From October to the end of the year, this dominated conversation around Yandere Dev and Yandere Simulator. And at the start of 2024, this conversation was reinvigorated by Yandere Dev himself through his blog that had become his main method of communication, and a video titled Addressing the Allegation.
Hello, I'm Yandere Dev, the developer of Yandere Simulator. Last year,
He took that video down, by the way.
an extremely serious allegation was made about me that I would like to address. The accusation is that I attempted to groom an underage fan of my game. I will take accountability and admit that I did discuss inappropriate topics with a fan. However, the accusation that I deliberately attempted to groom this fan is false.
Alex, in this video, states that the allegation of him attempting to groom Jelly was not true because he saw her as a friend and not a target. He states he did not have ill intentions with her and was influenced by her provocativeness.
There's a part of me that wants to go point by point down the list of every single questionable or suspicious thing I said and provide context for absolutely everything, but that's not really the main issue here. For one thing, a lot of the stuff I said is just weird no matter what the context is. I'll just admit it. More importantly, I never should have let conversations like that happen in the first place. A normal, mentally healthy adult would have just blocked the girl immediately after the very first time she said something inappropriate. But I didn't. And having to face that fact was a wake-up call that made me realize I had deteriorated mentally. So, after this whole controversy happened, I decided to take some time to just reflect and try to figure out how I had turned into the type of person who would let something like this happen.
He also accepts it should not have gotten to that point. Alex talks about how his mental state deteriorated due to a near-decade production of the game that claimed a majority of his time. On that note, he states how the lack of outside influences, such as friends not attached to his online existence, hindered growth, but now has new hobbies and is going out with friends, and is in therapy, which is alleged to be the better health service.
After this whole controversy started, people started targeting anyone associated with me or my project for harassment. People even targeted the girl that I spoke to, spreading misinformation about her and spamming her with horrible images. It's one thing to screw up your own life, but it's another thing entirely to screw up so badly that you bring hate and abuse and harassment into the lives of others just for being associated with you. I am deeply sorry for that. I just hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me.
This video with Alex in a black shirt and hat and a white background is all there is in terms of footage. Besides the scarce inclusion of some screenshots, never on screen or addressed anywhere are the Snapchat conversations. And never did he address the most damning piece of evidence. This one screenshot counters his defense of stating the context of the conversations were done with humor in mind, treating her as one of the bros. Alex has been emailed for comment but has not responded. And so the screenshot both shows his intent to be secretive and the intent to elicit illegal photos. His lack of being fully transparent or not covering the entirety of his allegations is likely why he took this apology video down. Remaining are only re-uploads and other videos ridiculing his apology video as the first apology video as a genre of 2024.
He did actually say that he took down his apology video. He said it was because people had figured out who the victim is and that she had requested it be taken down. That's what I will say. That's what he said. I don't know what the real reason is.
As of this recording, Yandere Simulator sits at 502 patrons with $1.4 thousand a month. The game is the furthest it's been in development, but the furthest it's been to realistically being developed. The story of Yandere Dev is one where even success cannot mend a dysfunctional mindset. His aggressiveness, his lack of perspective, his overall social ineptness is often thought to be linked to his origin, to him being a shut-in which connects to where he is now, resentful at a lack of real-world experiences and connection. While that cannot be bundled and traced, his proclivity towards minors is not influenced but sought. It is not a point of compassion, nor does one desire understanding. It is this that has dug in such a deep hole, one that has been there since SSFs, and one that he may now find it impossible to climb out of. For that reason, Alex at the helm of Yandere Simulator means that it will never garner the support to be complete, at least not complete by its original ambitions of 10 complex rivals. And for that reason, it is, and its failure, a reflection of Alex.
Wow. Holy shit. That's insane. Well. Wow. The email thing is so fucking funny to me. If I sent him the entire B-movie script, would he just sit there for 3 hours straight reading the whole thing? Whenever I feel like I was a cringe teen, I'll find comfort in knowing that I never did anything worth having a documentary done on me. I love that for some reason he was like, I'm spending 14 hours a day reading emails. Like, no one made you do that, dog. Just for context, England got a new monarch before Yandere Dev finished his game. I love that he got sad that Markiplier stopped playing his barely functional game concept sandbox simulator. Like, dude, what was there left to do exactly? I still can't get over. I worked so hard on my game that it turned me into a pedophile. The fact that Cuphead, a game where each frame is hand-drawn in immense detail, had a full-length DLC game and a DLC game in the time where Yansim added one rival is baffling to me. When Yandere Dev promised the game to be completed, I was a teenager. Now I'm married and have a kid, and game is nowhere near finished. Yandere Dev likes girls the way he likes his games. 10 years old and still in development. Quick PSA for anyone under 18, don't try to do your own sting operations as a child. I know it's fun to laugh at stupid predators, but there's a reason why police use decoys that sound like children but are actually adults. If you see someone acting this way, get a trusted adult to handle it. Becoming a game developer guide part 1. Do not post your email. Do not ever post your email. Do not ever think of posting your email. I'm 24, I did the math. This game has been in development for 41.6% of my life. How old would I have been in 2014? Turned 5 in 2010. 5 plus 4. I was 9-ish. When did the game start? June? When did Yandere Simulator start development? Around 2014. There's not an exact date. So 2014-ish. So I would have been about 8 or 9. I'm now 19. So I need a calculator. So 19 minus 9 is 10. So that's 10 years of my life that this game has been in development. Okay, someone put in the percentage of time that is, because I don't know. The worst thing is he wasn't as unattractive as he described himself. It's literally just his extremely victim-obsessed self-pity personality. You know, he isn't actually bad looking, that's the thing. Like, the thing with a lot of, like, people who self-identify as incels, they're not actually bad looking, it's just the fact that they make being an incel their entire personality, and they get this fucking, like, being desperate is their personality at that point, and it's just really unattractive. This man was either neglected by his parents so much that he never learned basic decency, or smothered so much that he believes he's unable of any wrongdoings. How did he go from looking 17 to 50 years old in the lifespan of 8 years? Bro skipped the middle ground. As soon as he said kids should have sex if they have a sex card, I know shit like this was gonna happen. I didn't even fucking clock that, dude. Scott Cawthon made 9 Five Nights at Freddy's games, launching a successful franchise of toys, books, spin-off games, and a feature-length movie all in the time frame Alex took to release one rival in his dumpster fire game. No, I have so many emails, what do I do? Just do these things. Those won't work because those require doing things. Yandere Dev banned speedruns were more enjoyable and was more updated than his game could ever be. The way he talks about women in his Eva Stefan Day is fascinating. He really doesn't see us as individuals, just vessels through which to realize his fantasies. And physical intimacy is just a set of game achievements and not a method of connection with another person. I'm sure he still thinks this way, it's just slightly less obvious. Yeah, definitely, and I want to leave it on that comment, because with everything else, I feel that, I mean, I didn't know about the Eva Zephon things, but this comment right here, oh, baby. See, it's very, very clear that even if he wasn't, like, a pedophile, which, yeah, I'm gonna call him a pedophile because this happened more than once, you know? I wouldn't call him a pedophile if it only happened the one time, but it happened more than once. But just the way he spoke about women is disgusting. So, no. Anyway, I am going to love you and leave you. I will see you in my next video. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but it will be something. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Love you.